begin with an update on negotiations. Over the past several weeks, we've made meaningful progress, and for the first time in a long time, it truly feels like the finish line is within reach. It is in our most recent session, we presented our seller proposal, and we are genuinely hopeful that this effort will bring us to a fair and balanced agreement for everyone. We understand the challenges the district faces with declining enrollment, and we sincerely appreciate Mr. Jamero's openness and patience as he walked us through the district's financial picture. His willingness to answer questions and give clarity has helped both teams stay grounded in shared understanding as we work towards closure. Our hope now is to bring the chapter to an end so that we can all move forward together. For my second topic, I want to take a moment to recognize someone whose impact on classified employees has been profound, Mr. Gary Mendez. Since the day he joined the board, Mr. Mendez has been a steadfast and passionate advocate for our work. He has always treated classified professionals as equals, indispensable contributors to Whittier Union's success, not as an afterthought, not as an expendable group, but as a vital part of what makes this district strong. His steady presence, his compassion, and his willingness to listen have made a lasting difference in the lives and the people we represent. While we are truly saddened to see him leave, we are grateful for every conversation, every act of support, and every moment he has chose to stand with us. Mr. Mendez, please know that you will always be missed, and that we appreciate you, and that there will always be a chair open for you at the CSEA table. Lastly, I want to honor the memory of someone who embodied generosity, compassion, and service. Jennifer Belloc. Jennifer was a blessing to CSEA and to this district. Year after year, she supported our spring breakfast and quietly contributed in so many other ways that uplifted our members and our community. Her commitment to help others extended far beyond Whittier Union, reaching across borders, across cultures, and across oceans through her pilgrimages to serve those in need around the world. Jennifer lived her life as an example on what kindness in actions look like. Her passion leaves us with heavy hearts. Her passing leaves us with heavy hearts, but also a deep gratitude for the legacy she leaves behind. We take comfort in knowing that she is now in peace and surrounded by light. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence in her honor. Thank you, everyone. That concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. I call this regular meeting to order. Our Board of Trustees has just emerged from closed session and have no report, although I will say it was very productive. And at this point, I'd like to ask my colleague, Ms. Josefina Canchola, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you do it, Alita?
Absolutely, thank you. Please stand with your hands over your heart. Ready to go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And at this point, I'd like to ask Dr. Oviedo to lead us in land acknowledgement.
Yes, the Whittier Union High School District acknowledges our presence in the traditional ancestral land of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples, which includes the villages of Chukishna, now Santa Fe Springs, Sihat, now Los Nietos Whittier, and the village of Sijitna, now Whittier San Gabriel River area. This land remains unceded territory. Whittier Union High School District honors and respects the Gabrielino Tongva ancestors and their connection to this land.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oviedo. That brings us to item 5.01, comments and statement. At this time, I'd like to invite Trustee Gary Mendez to approach the podium. Oh, let me just pause for a minute. We did receive a request from at least one board member, Mr. Lopez, to speak before you
Sure.
speak, Mr. Mendez. Are you amenable to that?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. So, Mr. Lopez?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Trustee Mendez, fellow Hornet, it's been an honor to work with you. You brought a different level of advocacy to the district that people haven't seen in recent years. One can argue that some were not ready for. I've noticed that your voice for the voiceless made a few people uncomfortable, but it was appreciated by many. You see, Mr. Mendez, neither you or I were supported by the establishment when we ran. We didn't get appointed. We did not get a head start. We earned our gold and crimson colors and stripes through hard work and dedication. And that's something to be commended for. I want to thank you for your initiatives you put forward, regardless of their popular stance. What matters is that you were grounded in supporting students, classified staff, certificate employees, and the district as a whole. You might mention these initiatives in your outgoing speech, but I want to highlight them here tonight. 1, advocacy for greater academic achievement for Latino males. 2, visiting Frontier High. Teachers and staff there shared that they appreciated the attention they got because they had not experienced it before. Showing consistency and respect for classified employees, including your advocacy for policy 9310. Standing up for teachers in closed session. It might be a surprise to some, but this one I will also remember. Assisting in creating our land acknowledgement that we read today. This is especially meaningful given the historical context how a Catholic church-owned residential schools once oppressed the native student population. Supporting the removal of Puente contract from the consent calendar, which allowed us to uncover that many students placed in Puente were already in Category 1, while the group with the greatest need, Category 4, had the lowest representation. You accomplished all this in 3 years, and I can only imagine what another 2 or 3 terms would have brought. As a coach, I would say keep your head up. You did not serve 2 masters referenced by Trustee Castañeda Carreros. Scripture warns about serving both money and God, not about serving 2 boards. You violated no board policy and no conflict of interest statute. And for the record, there is no vote on record related to water policy or initiatives that would have conflicted with your current water board position. Thank you for your service, Mr. Mendez.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank
And
you.
at this point, I'd like to invite Mr. Gary Mendez to, well, I was going to invite you to approach the podium, but you're already here today, so you have a maximum of 15 minutes to provide remarks.
Sure, 1 minute for every year. Okay, well, thank you very much, board and staff and members of the public. I made the conscious decision to step down for Wood Union High School District. This decision is mine and mine alone. I've been an elected official in education for over 24 years and in education for 40. This decision was not easy. I'm stepping down to focus on water, the source of life, on the Central Basin Municipal Water District, where I serve over 2 million people, 23 cities and unincorporated areas. As Vice President of the Water Board, I've already begun to do what I've done for Whittier Union. Revise policies, work on financial controls, and strengthen governance on the board. I'm at a place where I'm valued and appreciated and for my skill set. On the Central Basin, I'll be serving the greater good for the greater amount of people. My Native American grandfather instilled in me a respect and appreciation for water. He often said, "Water is life," the words I've lived by since. I'm fulfilling my ancestral mission as an ND Apache Yaqui and a member of the Water Clan, trained, mentored, and initiated by my grandfather, as was he initiated by his mother. It is my responsibility to seek out water sources, secure them, and lead my people to them while protecting them. This scale is tremendous. Although my time was short at Whittier Union, 3 years, I've applied as much as I could as I was able. Some say I've done more in 3 years and some have done in 12 years. Perhaps. I'm proud of having championed the causes of the underachievers, struggling students, and the underserved, often ignored students of the district. God help these students. No accomplishment are achieved without a majority of the board. However, it takes a catalyst with persistence, sweat, and struggle to create accomplishments. These are my individual-led accomplishments that at times was a struggle with the board but came to reality. Number 1, expulsion rate. I came in with expulsion rates of 5 to 10 a month for the first 3 months. That saddened me and hurt me to my core. However, we've initiated a policy with some administrators who felt the same way. We've got that down from 50 a year down to 1 a year. I'm very proud of that accomplishment. Health benefits for the lowest paid workers, bus drivers, food service, teachers' aides, and others. Why should they pay and struggle to pay for health care while others are benefiting with a higher salary? Universal policy development with the California School Board Association policy review. It's something that me and the superintendent initiated, and the district will benefit from that. As president, it was the first time that the board and superintendent goals were set in 3 years. Yosh Nakamura, dedication building. I think that was a very timely thing, and I appreciate the whole district participating in that, so that a very important person was given the opportunity to enjoy it while they were here. The land acknowledgement statement and the creation of the Native American Advisory Committee. We benefit, and we hear that at every board meeting, by introducing my culture and Native American culture to Whittier Union. Now, Native American History Month, we have performances of dancers. 9310, participatory governance, inclusion, the author of that, it was my mission to be sure that students, staff, teachers have input into policy development here at Whittier Union. Advocacy for Frontier and Sierra, so that students get equal access to equal resources. Advocacy for the struggling student. My heart goes out to those students. Board policy on availability of quality feminine hygiene products and restrooms was brought about by my visitations to student governments. And as board president, I visited student governments twice in 1 year. I helped remove the abusive RSO at Cal High who called the student a wetback and to go back to Mexico for not doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Reversal of lunch prices for staff is that we reversed a staff lunch prices to make it at cost, not for a profit. Whittier Union shouldn't profit from that. No one can take my accomplishments away. I'm very proud to have been a contributor here at Whittier Union for the greater good and for the board as a whole. I don't claim to exist on my own. You always have to get a majority, but oftentimes you have to plead. You have to plead, cry, and struggle to get support. And here's some concerns that I hope that the board works on. Is closing the achievement gap between Latino males. Drug and alcohol abuse among students. Struggling and overlooked students. Sports clubs and the inequity that exists. The Puente program, there's 4 categories, A, B, and C. These students, 50% of those students should not be all A students. They should be distributed equally. Sexual relations with students by employees. I'm seriously concerned about this practice. and that steps need to be taken in order to deter acts like that. Use of Title I funding from students from low socioeconomic areas. Yes, the money goes to the school, but it should be used for those students. English learners have always been in a crisis. More needs to be focused on them to help them be successful in life and to be good Americans. The California Voting Rights Act was supposed to have representatives on this board that represents them. I wish them the best. Board policies should apply to everyone. Not any, privileged people should not be exempt. So lucid omnibus, the sun shines for all. I asked you to catch up with today's standards of access. Is record, archive, and stream board meetings for the public. Do it online with links to from the website. You'll do the District of Great Justice, parents, and the community. Help to prevent nepotism in the district. Is that board members should not be hiring their children and voting on that, and we should do our best to hire people, everybody, to hire equally, give people an opportunity. Conflicts of interest, do your best to refrain from entering conflicts of interest. So again, I thank you for the 3 years. I'm going to serve our community in a much greater capacity that I'm very proud of. And I'm proud of my service here. And having attended Whittier High School myself, my mother and my grandmother, this was no accident. I know that I was, didn't always fit in the culture of Whittier Union, but I am who I am. Is that I seriously concerned for the underclass in our community, and I'll be doing that and serving them and doing my best to represent them on the water board. So again, thank you all, and I appreciate your work all this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendez. And Dr. Oviedo, I understand that there is a plaque.
Yes, I would like to present a plaque to you, Mr. Mendez, on behalf of the Whittier Union High School District in appreciation of your service from 2022 to 2025. And shall we go down below and we can? No? Okay.
Thank you very much.
At this time, would anyone else from the board like to offer comments to Mr. Mendez before we take a 5-minute recess?
Just take the recess, yeah.
Okay. We are recessed. Thank you very much. We'll be back in 5 minutes to continue our business. And so as we reconvene our regular board meeting, we are reaching item 7.01, community comments. And tonight we have 4 community comments. And I believe we have a preamble we usually read.
Yes. The Board of Trustees welcomes community comments on any item within the board's subject matter's jurisdiction. Please be aware that Government Code Section 54954.2 prohibits the board from taking action or discussing comments at a meeting that if the matter does not already appear on the posted agenda. All request cards do address the board, must be submitted prior to the commencement of the public meeting. In the interest of time, individual speakers will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board, and the board will limit the total time for public input on an item to 20 minutes. In order to accommodate more speakers, the allotted time per individual may be reduced. The board president may extend the allotted time per item with consent of the board. We ask that you confine your comments to new ideas to avoid repeating what has already been said. Please do not refer specifically to any students, employees, parents, or other individuals, whether by name or other identifying information, in a derogatory or potentially offensive manner.
Thank you, Dr. Oviedo. So tonight I'm going to start with Ms. Gloria Schillian, and she was joined by Rob West. So if you can come on up to the podium. And on deck, George Prater.
Thank you so much. Kind of feels good to be back here after 9 years. I am here tonight to represent the Whittier High School Alumni Association Educational Foundation. And I'm here with Rob West, who is our current president of the Alumni Association. And we both graduated from Whittier High School in 1980.
78.
78 and 1978? Oh, and 1972 for me. And I'll just say that I did proudly serve as the first Whittier High School alumni principal after being a teacher for 30 years in the district. And I'm also the first Whittier High School principal to ever serve as the president of the Alumni Association. And I did that after I retired in 2016. So I was going to present a concern I had. And my concern was my last paragraph, and that was a large donation from an alum from the class of 1960 of over $400,000. And I just wanted to make sure that all of it went to Whittier High School and the students. And that didn't happen in my tenure, even though we benefited greatly from a large donation back in 2013. It reduced other money we got. And so I just wanted to make a public statement about that. But since I don't need to do that, and I don't need to argue because I understand it's already been going on, I'm just going to use my paragraph that I wrote to brag about the Alumni Association real quickly, because we came. So just last year, and I'll read it quickly. Last fiscal year, we donated over $200,000 to Whittier High School, purchasing a needed athletic cart covering the cost of a new Cardinal mascot uniform, facilitated the purchase of new wrestling mats and athletic timers, supported the Cardinal Theater Company in both of their performances, funded a fun staff and alumni team building tailgate at the homecoming, and we, let's see, where am I? Oh, we gave our annual $8,000 to defer costs of AP testing and college applications, and awarded $50,000 in senior scholarships. We also partnered with Whittier High School administration to conduct a very successful Back to the Future fundraising event to help cover the cost of remodeling the Hall of Champions. And over $27,000 was raised at that event, and then we gave an additional $10,000 for that cause. Over the years, we have partnered with the school district, giving over $50,000 to the refurbishment of the district auditorium. And we annually sell seats, sponsoring seats to collect money for continuous auditorium upkeep. We also raised over $40,000 to refurbish and install a vintage Wurlitzer organ in the auditorium in 2018. And we maintain a separate bank account to make sure that we have the money for its continual upkeep. We have covered the cost of ASB students to attend leadership training. We've helped pay for the newest band uniforms. We helped replace stolen tubas back in 2009 during my time, and fully funded the mural painting in that tunnel, all of the murals in 2016. We have always purchased ads in theater ads and athletic programs, and support students in very special programs like the Senators and Academic Mentors. So I'm very proud of what we've done for over the last 25 years. We appreciate this community supporting the events. We have 4 events. The annual barbecue that we had in October, just this last week, in a very successful free community Christmas sing-along that was a lot of fun. We will again induct 6 alumni into the Hall of Fame in April, where we will award this year's scholarships. And then we have a new event this year. So in June of 2026, we are going to have another organ event, because we want to use that Wurlitzer organ as often as we can. And we will be hosting a celebration for America's 250th anniversary of independence in the historic Vic Lopez Auditorium. So we hope you can join us. And thank you so much, Dr. Oviedo, Monica, and my friends who sit up here at the diocese and that are in this audience, for supporting 100% of those $400,000 going directly to Andres and his staff to use wisely at Whittier High School. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Shirley. Thank you for highlighting the contributions of the Alumni Association. Our next speaker is Mr. George Prather, and on deck, Trustee Esther Medina. Good evening.
Some of you may remember that I appeared before this board several times in 2019 as you were considering creation of districts for by district trustee elections in my face. I created and spoke for several alternative maps at that point to those provided by your consultant. I'm a UCLA PhD trained political scientist with some expertise in this area. I want to suggest that creating a new precedent for filling vacancies is a necessity under by-district elections. Tonight you're considering how to fill a vacancy on the Board of Trustees for the second time since 2019. The proposal presented to you of appointing someone to represent Trustee Area 5 to fill out the term is the least democratic of the possibilities and should be considered unacceptable. This is a carryover from the time of at-large trustee elections when the remaining board members could make some claim to represent the voters of the departing trustee. None of you live or represent Area 5 and cannot claim to speak for those residents now. It is time to recognize that appointment to a board elected by districts as a frequent path to long tenure is no longer appropriate. You have three much more acceptable alternatives today. One is schedule a special election to fill out the term as part of the June 26 primary elections, and then leave the seat open until that time. That cost is expected to be only $100,000. It is likely that an appointed trustee cannot be seated before mid-February, meaning there would be only an additional 4 months that the position would be unfulfilled. Alternatively,
1 minute.
you could appoint someone who's to serve until the June election who pledges not to run for the remaining or the full term. Number two, appoint someone to fill out the full term, but again, who pledges not to run in November 2026. Third, schedule a special election as soon as possible and accept that this is the cost of doing business democratically. Let me just say, the usual argument is that the cost of special election will take too much from the educational programs of the district. This needs to be put in some perspective. The $1 million estimate for a standalone special election would be only 0.36% of your budget for 25-26. You could plan for future vacancies when primary and general elections may be more distant by setting aside $200,000 each year to fund an anticipated special election every 5 years. Finally, competitive elections are good. They are not only necessary in a democracy, the campaigns in these contests build relationships and networks among activists, which can be essential for political participation in other venues.
Thank you so much for making this one.
Campaigns in effect exercise and build democratic muscles, and that is needed more today than ever. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next speaker, Trustee Esther Mejia.
Good evening, Superintendent Oviedo, Honorable Board President Castañeda Calleros, and board members. My name is Esther Mejia, El Rancho Unified School Board member and Board President at Tri-Cities ROP. I'm here this evening to share my perspective on item 1603 as an individual board member. Tri-Cities ROP, established in 1974, employs more than 50 dedicated staff and serves over 2,900 students, both high school and adult students, across Whittier, Santa Fe Springs, and Pico Rivera. As a proud product of El Rancho Unified, I know firsthand the strength of our long-standing partnership with Whittier Union, rooted in a shared history. El Rancho High School itself began within Whittier Union, making us in many ways educational cousins. On the athletic fields, we may compete fiercely, but our respect for one another has always endured. I fully respect your right to study the possibility of withdrawal. At the same time, I encourage you to also weigh the reasons to stay. Through our joint powers agreement, we achieve economies of scale that allow our districts to offer broader, more robust CTE programs, opportunities that no single district could fully replicate on its own. At last week's CSBA Delegate Assembly, CSBA President Betty Lusk reminded us of our shared responsibility Trustees must link arms and move forward in lockstep for the sake of our students across California. I echo that call tonight.
1 minute.
My ask is simple. When you conclude your study, consider the far-reaching impact on Tri-Cities ROP staff and students and the potential loss of $3 million in grant funding, the disruption of programs, and the consequences for regional workforce opportunities. Should you ultimately decide to withdraw, I respectfully request that you implement at least a 1-year transition period to protect the students, staff, and educators who rely on these pathways. Thank you for 51 years of partnership, collaboration, and commitment to career technical education, an investment that continues to transform lives, open doors, and create pathways to futures our students may have never imagined. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Trustee Mejia. Next, I have Stephanie Vallejo from Reform Whittier, and on deck, former trustee Alex Morales.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stephanie Vallejo, and I am from Reform Whittier. I'd like to invite you all, the community and our voters of the city of Whittier, to come to our January 24th candidate forum that we'll be hosting for our city elections coming up, which will be held at First Friends Church. So we hope that you join us at that venue. But I want to talk about Gary Mendez. First of all, I want to thank the board for their hard work and dedication to our families and our students. I am a mother of a child that attended La Serna High School. My niece and my nephew attended La Serna High School. I work for Tri-Cities ROP as a full-time teacher, teaching administration of justice, as I am a retired police officer. And one of the things that we do at Reform Whittier is we want to increase voter turnout, because in the city of Whittier it is very low. We have about 58,000 registered voters and only about 7,200 average vote in every election. Going back to my point, one of the things that we do in Reform Whittier is we seek transparency in government, and this is a government body. Gary Mendez was not a transparent person. In fact, he was very unethical. There are very many instances in which the activity he was involved in was almost criminal. And he's performed a lot of FPPC violations that are unethical and wrong. He was a very divisive person on the board and away from the board. And I, for one, am happy he's gone. There is a conflict of interest. One of the board members says there isn't. In fact, there was. If there wasn't,
1 minute.
the California State Attorney General would not have sided with the 2 attorneys that Gary Mendez forced the district to pay extra money to get to the same opinion the California State Attorney General came up with, is that there is a conflict. So, there is. And for you to say that there isn't is wrong. It's misleading and it's not transparent. So, I, for one, am thankful. I hope we get someone who's willing to work with the board and not be divisive, and that we work for it as a team for our parents, but most of all for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker tonight, former trustee, Mr. Alex Morales. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me. As a former trustee, as an administrator, as all those things that I've had a chance to do, I wanted to take the time to recognize those that are in the classroom. I have 3 student teachers. I'm a professor at Cal State Long Beach at 3 different high schools in the Whittier Union High School District. And they are all having such a great experience of working with them. So I wanted to give the recognition to those teachers. The first one at Whittier High School, Mr. Belante and Mr. Caruth, and they're working with my student teacher, Jesse Dickens. The second one is Pioneer High School, Mrs. Miramontes and Mrs. Ariola, and they're working with my student, Stephanie Brosowski. And then that school that's way down there pushing Norwalk, okay, Santa Fe High School, Mr. Rooks, and my student teacher is Michael Smith. If it was my responsibility at the university to place students at high schools, all 5 of them would be here at the Whittier Union. But, they need to do what they want to do. The teachers are outstanding, the staff, administration, and everything. So I wanted to tell the board, thank you for working with California State University Long Beach, and we hope to continue to do that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Just gonna pause and see if we have any other previous speakers that have brought cards. No, okay. So just one quick comment before you go to the next item. I want to thank those of you who came and spoke tonight. We really appreciate hearing from you. While I can't comment on individual matters, there are a couple of agenda items that will be coming up later in the agenda tonight, so you're welcome to stay and hear our board dialogue about them. We really value your input. Oh, you can't hear me? Is that better? Okay.
We were just getting, confirmation that there were no online speakers who wish to speak yet. Okay, just confirm there are none.
Okay, very good. Thanks for confirming that. And Mr. Jamero, thank you for being a good timekeeper tonight. That brings us to item 8.01, as we consider approval of the minutes from on November 18th regular Board of Trustees meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. It's been moved by Ms. Controla. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you. It's been seconded by Vice President Rodriguez-Moisa. Any discussion on the minutes from that meeting? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. 4-0. Thank you very much. That brings us to item 9.01 as we consider approval of the December 9th board agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Lopez, thank you. Seconded by Mr. Rodriguez-Moisa. Mr. Yes, and would you like to make a
Yes.
comment on the agenda?
I'd like to see if we can move 16.03, 16.04 to the beginning of the agenda to entertain those items. We have a few members from the public that want to hear these items,
Mm-hmm.
if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Sure, and just a clarifying question, Mr. Lopez, to which location would you like to, after consent?
Correct, yes.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Lopez to move items 16.03 and 16.04 to a new location on the agenda. They would now be right after the consent calendar, right before proposals and discussions. Is there a second to Mr. Lopez's motion?
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and I can call the question on that, right? In terms of our procedure, call the question on the motion. So all in favor of making this change to tonight's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to this change? Any abstaining from this decision? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you.
Okay.
Call the question on the approval of the rest of the agenda?
Yes. So we still need it's been motion and seconded already, right?
Yes,
For
it
the
is.
regular agenda. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez-Moisa. So you're already ready to be president. All in favor of tonight's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. That brings us to item 10.01, recognition of service of the board president. I'll turn that over to Dr. Oviedo.
Yes, now I would like to take the opportunity to recognize the last year of service of trustee President Castaneda Calleros. During President Calleros' year of service, he has worked collaboratively with his colleagues to accomplish the following. Completion of the board bylaws update tonight, poised to bring forward all policies before the end of the school year. Groundbreaking of our new Performing Arts Center. Near completion of our Santa Fe High athletic field project and the Cal High pool. An agreement for $2 million with Santa Fe Springs to provide dollars for the lighting, exterior lighting of the Santa Fe Fields project. a commitment to our environment with the approval of solar arrays at all Whittier Union campuses, completion of interior LED lighting at all campuses, and the addition of 18 electric buses and vans. A resolution affirming support for our immigrant families, and unprecedented student achievement success for all students, including the highest graduation rate in Whittier Union history, a dashboard that is nearly entirely green with the highest inclusion rate for students with disabilities in Los Angeles, Orange County, Santa Barbara, and Riverside County. Trustee Castaneda Calleros, this gift, lots of gifts. This gift is inscribed for, when you've been on the board for a number of cycles, we've cycled through many gifts for you, but it's inscribed and it says, "For living our mission, your unwavering support and steadfast leadership, Whittier Union thanks you." And this is just a token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Maria, look.
We have a holiday for that.
Oh, thank you so much. So bring us over. Thank you so much, Dr. Villalobos. I have a few comments to share if I may. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. And you baked too. So.
Do we go first or do you go first?
Yeah, right. May I go first?
Yes.
Thank you, and then would gladly turn it over to you. First of all those accomplishments you read would not have been possible if we didn't have staff and teachers and administrators doing the work every day. So I want to recognize that first and foremost. Thanks be to God that I'm here. It's such a pleasure, it's such an honor to serve this district, and the same district I grew up in and graduated from. And I want to thank Maria for being so patient, being a good listener. When I come home from board meetings, she stays awake for me, so she helps me to be a sounding board and to process things, so thank you, Maria. And I want to thank my board colleagues for being so supportive this year. We got through the year, we did it. And thank you, Dr. Oviedo, thank you, Cabinet, thank you, Kevin, Lily Bo, and Ann for all of your support and leadership. And it's wonderful to be at this dais with you. And thank you, Olga, for keeping me on task and letting me know when I need to sign something and when I need to be somewhere. I appreciate all the work that you do every week. Thank you, Matt, Carlos, and Juan, for your leadership, for stepping up to the plate and always being so willing to work, collaborate, and to share your thoughts. General Counsel, thank you, Terrence, for all of your help. I know you're here somewhere. And thank you, Amanda, Andrea, and of course your boss, Valerie Martinez, and the AMA staff for helping to craft messages throughout the year as needed. Really appreciate your help. And I look forward to the next president. I yield the floor. Thank you. So does anyone want to jump in? You're welcome.
Mary.
President, for the next couple minutes, Castaneda Calleros. I just wanted to really thank you because I think that you have totally led from a place of grace and kindness, and have really shown what a true leader is, especially in times of challenges. And so I just wanted to thank you for really directing the work of the DIAD into productivity for the students and for our teachers and our staff, and then doing it with such calmness, con mucho corazón, with a lot of heart, and I've learned a lot from you. So I wanted to personally thank you, and thank you also for supporting my growth as a trustee. I will eternally be grateful, and I'm grateful to Whittier Union for allowing me to have created a friend in you. And I have so much respect. Muchas gracias for your time. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
Mr. President, may I go through? Well, I just want to congratulate you once again on your leadership. And I just want to point out what we've done. And I know Dr. Oviedo mentioned about the student achievement, and dashboard. I love those colors, green and blue. And I attribute that to you and your leadership. And you've been here a while, so thank you for staying focused on student achievement. Just want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, much appreciated.
I'll go next here. Last year, if you'll recall, you were called into service by the rest of this board, and it was because you were the right person at that moment and for this past year. And that has been nothing but the truth. You have brought us together when there has been challenges, when there have been efforts to divide, and throughout all of that, you gave us grace, love, and support. You have served as an incredible role model for our students, and basically, I hope I can live up to those shoes as I step into presumably step into these shoes in a few minutes. You've brought us together, you focused us on our important work, and thank you for the support that you've also shown me in the growth as a trustee. I care about you very much.
What I love most about this is it's cardinal red. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Stanford cardinal red. Matches the color of the arrow. Inside joke, but we'll clue you in later tonight. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to item 10.02. Nomination and election of officers to the Board of Trustees. And I would like to pound the gavel one last time to open up our window of nomination. And we'll start with the Board President. Who would like to make a nomination for the Board President?
I would like to nominate Trustee Irma Rodriguez-Moisa for the role of president.
I'll second that.
Very good. It's been,
President.
thank you very much. It's been moved by Ms. Trustee Conchola and by Trustee Lopez, or seconded by Mr. Lopez. Do you accept the nomination for president?
I have to think about it. No, yes. Yes, I do. Thank you.
It's been accepted, and I just have to ask, any other nominations at this point? Or is there a move to close nominations for president?
Second.
Okay, so there is a move to close nominations, and may I get a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Lopez, seconded by Ms. Conchola. All in favor of choosing our beloved leader, Trustee Rodriguez-Moisa, our board president, please say aye.
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 Let's do a roll call.
Okay.
Let's do a roll call. Roll call vote.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Trustee Conchola.
Aye.
Trustee Castaneda-Calleros.
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez-Moisa.
Yes.
The ayes have it. Congratulations, Madam President. Board President Rodriguez-Moisa, please accept this gently used gavel and this gavel base.
What about the next officers? I preside over them.
You sure do.
Oh, wow.
You sure do.
Let me see your script. This they didn't tell me. Okay, so now we have open. Thank you very much. I'll say a few words now or later.
It's up to you.
Let's get our whole officers elected
Sure.
first.
Okay.
Or do we have any nominations for vice president of the board?
Madam President, I'd like to nominate Trustee Conchola for Vice President.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Ms. Conchola, do you accept the nomination?
I would graciously accept, yes, thank you.
Very good. Are there any other nominations for vice president of the board? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the nominations?
Move to close. Second.
All right, call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, so,
Congratulations, Vice President.
all right, and now we'll open the nominations for clerk of the board. Do we have
Madam-
any nominations?
I sure do. Madam President, I'd like to nominate Mr. Jaime Lopez to serve as our board clerk.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Lopez, do you accept that nomination?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close nominations?
Move to close.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Doesn't look like it. Move to close nominations, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, well, now we have to vote on Mr. Lopez, pardon me. All right, call the question. Any in favor? Please, aye, if you're in favor of Mr. Lopez serving as the clerk.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous, 4-0.
All right.
Congratulations.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you.
I don't know that I used it properly though.
Yeah.
And now secretary? Oh, we have to nominate a secretary to the board. Oh, goodness. Okay, but there's only one person who can serve in that role, as I understand it.
Madam President, I'd like to nominate Superintendent Dr. Monica Oviedo as our board secretary.
Okay, moved by Dr. Castaneda Calleros and seconded by Mr. Lopez. Do you have a choice? Oh, you do accept? She accepts the nomination. Are there any other nominations? Is there a motion to close?
So move to close.
Second.
All those in favor of closing the nomination, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, now can we call the question on whether Dr. Oviedo can serve as the secretary of the board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, unanimous, 4-0. Congratulations. We've got a Mosca up here, everybody. Yeah. Before we move to the next item, I did prepare a few comments. I promised to keep this short, and in light of this, I'll probably skip my board comments later. I am honored to serve in this very important role at the district and on our board. I recognize that no one individual alone can do this work. It requires collaboration, respect, focusing on issues, and all of us working together. It has been my understanding that this is the first time the Whittier Union High School District Board has had 2 Latinas as the president and vice president of our board. So it is quite an accomplishment tonight. For those of you who know me, you know I normally don't lack much confidence, but I have to tell you that I have been very anxious about taking this role on. And when I first got elected 3 years ago, the furthest thing I wanted was to be president of the board. And so I have learned so much over the last 3 years from my colleagues, and I want to thank you for all that you have taught me. I've also developed a deep admiration for all of you who serve our students, and for all of our students who are amazing. If you have an opportunity ever to come to a board meeting and see them highlighted, you will know that they are why we do this work. As time goes on, the 3 years have been great, but we've got a lot of work to still do going forward. So here are some initiatives that I'd like to consider for the board's consideration as we move forward in this coming year. I'd like to see us strengthen our ties with our feeder elementary school districts, perhaps hosting a special meeting with them so that we can hear from their board, and potentially also a social event where we do get to meet all of our feeder district board members so that we can learn from each other and see how we can get better. I'm interested in having us evaluate and assess our data at a school site level. We've got some great reports on the district-wide, but I'd like to see us dig in a little bit more at each school site. So I will be asking all of you to make time over the next few months to have meetings that will start earlier than our normal 6 o'clock so we can have reports from our different district sites, our school district sites, so that they can share with us the things that they are proud of and the things that they wish to know that we need to work on. I'd like to have us increase our presence in the local communities and publish our great achievements. Once people learn what we are doing, who we are, there is an incredible response. And it's going to be one of my goals to be highly present and to highlight all those changes and initiatives. We have quite a few things to accomplish this year. We're going to be appointing a new principal at USEC. We're going to discuss later today whether we're going to appoint a new trustee. And we're going to start getting ready for the declining state budget. Our state of California budget goes in cycles. We do great, we go down, we stay the same, and we're starting to see that there may be some challenges to our budget. And our job will be to make the best decisions in favor of our students and staff so that we serve their interest at heart. I pledge to you that I will make decisions that are student-centered, and I will always ask how this proposal or action that is before us serves students and our district goals. I promise to serve with integrity and to facilitate robust discussion and decision-making. I will follow in Dr. Castaneda Calleros' footsteps to be a good role model to our students and to reflect the best of our district. I also will work extremely hard and am committed to unifying us in purpose and not to divide us. I will perform my duties with humility. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for having patience for me as we go forward, as I learn. But really to our community who's out there, thank you for allowing me the honor of serving. This is an incredible opportunity for me, and it has changed my life. So thank you, and I will pass it on if Ms. Canchola would like to make any comments as the new Vice President.
The first thing I want to say is, Viva la Mujer. We are reflective of a great portion of the demographics of this community, and it is truly an honor. I'm thinking of all the ancestral power that we bring to the dyad, and the responsibility that comes along with that, in terms of really, moving forward an agenda for all of our students, but also creating opportunities for our young women, so that they can achieve their highest potential, whatever that may be. I feel extremely proud, as an immigrant coming to the United States, undocumented, and to be able to say, that I'm part of this really wonderful district. I always brag about how amazing Whittier Union High School District is. And I have the privilege of working with districts across California, so I do have a comparison base. And our biggest problem is the smallest problems for some districts. And so we are truly blessed to have such talented teachers and passionate teachers and staff members and administrators that have allowed this, all the work that have allowed our students to not only statistically but personally to see how much they have grown. So in that line, I also want to mention that I don't take this role for granted. I know that being an elected official, given this responsibility, it's a big deal, because our decisions are going to influence our young people. And I'm reminded every time that I go to a community event or to a site visit, and I see our students, and I think all the decisions that we make, once a month impact so many students. And so, it's more than an honor to serve with you as our president, because you know that I have utmost respect for you. I think you have such a brilliant mind, and I love the analytical little brain that you have working, because you bring a good balance to the discussions that we have with our cabinet, and you're always probing and questioning, and I think that's part of the forte that you bring to the dyad. And so just know that I will be your partner in this process, and I too will continue to serve with humility, and I just thank our public and our constituents for giving us an opportunity to serve our community in this role.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to talk about our Madam President for right now. Congratulations. Congratulations. You and I have known each other since the early 2000s, right? And I've seen you advocate not only for the students, but our community, and of course, City of Whittier residents, and look where you're at now. So I just want to congratulate you. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All righty. Now on to the next item. 10.03, nomination and election of representative to the Tri-Cities Regional Occupational Program. I believe the current members of that board my term is ending. Mr. Lopez, you're still on it for one more year.
Correct.
I would be happy to serve again if so nominated.
Madam President, I'd like to nominate you, Trustee Rodriguez Mosa, for the next term.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? All right, so without any objection, Who votes in favor of renominating me to serve on the ROP board? I should say trustee Rodriguez Moisa. I should talk in the third person there. Personal person. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
And, Madam President, I'd like to, given that he seems to be interested in, well, actually, we don't need to vote because you're still active. Okay.
Yeah.
I withdraw my potential motion.
Alrighty, so then we'll go to item number 11, reports from our employee representative.
Oh, I think we skipped
10:04.
10.04.
10:04. Oh, I apologize. All right, so item 10.04, a resolution to approve the certification of signatures with the new officers.
Madam President, I'll move approval.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Without discussion, we'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, unanimous. Oh yeah, 10.05. Consideration approval of the Board of Trustees meetings for the 26-27 school year. You'll note that this calls for meetings to be typically the second Tuesday of every month. We have 2 meetings in June. Do I have a motion to approve these board meeting dates for the 26-27 school year? Motion by Ms. Canchola,
Second.
second by Mr. Lopez.
And discussion.
Any discussion?
Madam President, I'd like to ask if we have to entertain this motion while we have another motion to change the meeting dates.
So the meeting date that is later in the agenda is specifically for the 2026. The approval of the dates that you are looking at now are for the 26-27 school year, so it's not an overlap of the date.
Thank you.
I will also note that December, we've had to push the December meeting by 1 week. It is an election year, and we do need to wait for the election to be certified. And so that you'll see that that is not the second Tuesday of December.
Thank you.
Any other discussions or questions? Seeing none, let's call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, unanimous. Okay, now we get to item 11.0, reports from our employee representatives. You know what, I'm going to switch it up here. Let's go with CSEA, Mr. Rodriguez. I caught you off guard, didn't I?
Totally did. Not ready for that.
Yes, company, no.
A little further to the left.
All right, let's see.
I'm Mr. Renteria on behalf of the Greater Adult Teachers Organization.
Good evening. Seasoned greetings to all of our board members, cabinet, and esteemed superintendent. I want to start by congratulating each one of our board members in your new appointed role. Your work is definitely makes a difference in each one of our students' lives and more importantly in our communities. I want to mention something. A good leader is like a captain guiding a ship. Steady, clear, and purposeful. With strong leadership and collaborative effort, respect, unity, and humility, as Ms. Rodriguez Moisa mentioned, we're gonna go a long way. It will help us stay together in unity. It'll help us, our schools, stay on course and deliver the results that we want for our students towards success. Tonight, I want to share a few of the different achievements from both our teachers and our students. Some of these items include the highlights of the exceptional dedication from our WUHSD teachers, their meaningful impact in their work, and how it impacts our students, our community, and the district as a whole. From our high school equivalency program, we can recognize the achievement of Enrique, a new high school student who completed his program. Upon completion, now he's employed at the city of Santa Monica. His journey reflects the purpose and promise of an adult education that continues to transform lives and families, helping them open new pathways to opportunity. We're also pleased to share that WUHSD teachers are benefiting from our adult school offerings. One of our comprehensive high school teachers currently completed our Excel class with Mr. Vasquez, and that's helped the teacher utilize the data and Excel to organize information in spreadsheets and generate progress reports. This is an excellent example of how district resources are currently supporting professional growth. Mr. Vasquez was also happy to share with us an inspiring student success story. A student who previously applied for a district receptionist position, he was not unable to pass the required Excel and Word assessment due to outdated software skills. After completing the course, the student retook the assessment and now has passed with 90% accuracy. She is now fully qualified and prepared to apply for upcoming district opportunities. Also want to highlight our plumbing program achievement and employment outcomes. Mr. Marcia, our plumbing instructor, reports that students Jonathan Medina has been hired by One Plumbing. This is another success story, growing from our CTE programs. Since its launch in 2022, the WHS Plumbing One course has served a strong employment pipeline, focusing on employability, efficiency, accuracy, and relationship building. The program maintains an impressive 80% employment rate. This year, the South Bay Program Investment Board recognized WHS with the 2025 Outstanding Program Performance Award, underscoring the rapid growth and the high quality of our plumbing, electrical, and related CTE programs. I'm also happy to share with you guys that we have received a new WIOA grant award and notification. This award was awarded this past Friday, as shared by Assistant Principal Juan Ansaldo. Funding was approved at the expected level, with also an additional $35,000 awarded. This increase is attributed to a high rise in school equivalency graduates and improved measurable skill gains among our ESL students. These funds will be reinvested directly into these programs to strengthen the outcomes and expand the student success. As my closing remarks, as we approach the holidays, it is important to pause and acknowledge the many blessings that are woven into our lives. We often move quickly that we overlook what we already have. Loving families, stable employment, health, and the ability to show up for the people that we serve. I invite each one of you guys to take a moment to reflect on the privilege of being part of this great district. A district that is financially sound, thanks to the work of Mr. Chamero and his cabinet. The collaborative effort from our negotiation agreements, and deeply committed to meeting the needs of its staff, students, and community. We are fortunate in many ways. May your holidays be bright and filled with health, peace, and love. God bless everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Francis?
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, family, friends, administrators, trustees, and honored guests. I'd like to thank all of my WSA members for joining me tonight. Once again, it is my privilege to speak on the behalf of the dedicated and passionate educators who make a profound impact on the lives of our students each and every day. This past Sunday, I had the joy of attending the Whittier High Alumni Association's holiday concert and sing-along, where I got to watch Pioneer High's choir, Longfellow Elementary's dance program, and the Drama Academy Choir, which is made up of Whittier City students from their district, fill the Vic Lopez with music, movement, and an unmistakable spark of youthful energy that was also intermixed with a sing-along accompanied by the fully restored Wurlitzer organ. Watching performers of all ages share the stage was a reminder to me how quickly the years move. How the young children dancing today will one day sit in that audience as parents cheering for their own. And it brought to mind Longfellow's "The tide rises, the tide falls," and the way he captures life's constant motion. It's rising and it's falling, it's renewal. In those moments, we see the beauty of public education, each generation lifting the next, each wave shaping the shore. But the tide doesn't always bring soft waves. Tonight, I want to uplift someone facing a tide none of us ever expect. Frontier High School's Mary Ann Fajardo, a previous Whittier Union Teacher of the Year, and a beloved dedicated member of her school community. Mary Ann is currently battling brain cancer. When I spoke with her recently, she didn't hesitate for a moment. She told me that she is ready to, quote, give them hell and fight. And that fierce resolve is who she has always been. She is an educator of tremendous heart, humor, and courage. Camus once wrote, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." Mary Ann embodies that invincible summer. Even in the harshest season of her life, she shows a warmth, a strength, and a determination that reminds us all of what resilience truly looks like. Her fight is our fight. Same with Trustee Controlla. And we stand with her as she continues forward with an unwavering spirit. In that, I humbly request tonight's meeting be adjourned in support of Mary Ann. Reflecting on her strength and on the rising and falling tides that shape all of our lives, I'm reminded why WSEA does the work we do. Our educators show that same resilience every single day, whether they're supporting a struggling student, preparing a holiday performance, or creating moments of joy in classrooms that often feel stretched thin. My responsibility and our responsibility as a union is to ensure that those educators feel seen, supported, and valued so they can continue giving their best to the students who depend on them. As we continue our contract negotiations, that commitment remains at the center of our efforts. We're working to secure a contract that reflects the realities of our members' works, honors their professionalism, and acknowledges the emotional and intellectual investment they make in the lives of our students. We're not asking for extravagance, we're asking for fairness, respect, and stability. When our members feel supported, their students strive. When our staff feels respected, our schools flourish. I think of G.K. Chesterson's quote right now: "People forget how to be grateful unless they learn to be humble." And I am forever grateful for the collaborative work of this board and the administration working with WSEA. And we look forward to continuing that collaboration. We are ready to collaborate, communicate, and move forward in a way that uplifts everyone, students, families, and the educators who form the foundation of the district. The tides will always rise and fall, but our commitment to our members, to our students, and to this community remains constant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Francev. Was inspiring. I know there's going to be a motion to adjourn in memory of two other folks who are ties to the district. I think one of my colleagues will add Ms. Fajardo to that motion. All right, so I'm going to move now to board reports. I'm going to go first with Dr. Castaneda Calleros, and I'm going to go that way.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be as brief as I can. I'll speak in bullet points. I know we have a full agenda. I just want to say to the board and the community that I attended the Cal High Model United Nations tournament on Sunday and accompanied Trustee Controlla and Trustee Lopez and Dr. Oviedo, and want to thank Mr. Sean Reagan and his team, and of course Principal Shana Jones for being so hospitable, and a lot of staff work went into making the Cal High gym and the entire campus home to 21 different high schools that were there that day. Very impressive, and of course it was a joy to see Congresswoman Linda Sanchez there as well. as the keynote speaker. And the students, it was wonderful to see them again. I'm thinking of Carter Crail, who we honored here a few months ago, and he was one of the leaders there that day. Also, we had the joy of attending the Whittier High School open house. Mr. Favela, thank you so much for hosting that event in the gym. It was really good energy there. Wonderful to connect with the parents and with the classified staff and the teachers and administrators, and the students showcasing all the different clubs and activities. And I got some ideas in terms of how we can continue to do our best to recruit from parts of the district that might be looking elsewhere. We want to be able to retain those folks. So thank you so much for all of your work. And then I attended the Spirit Family Services event for Giving Tuesday. They do great work for our students in terms of mental health and treatment and substance abuse treatment. And Elvia Torres, as you know, has been a big supporter of our district. Want to thank, excuse me, I skipped an item. I don't want to skip it. I want to thank Shana Jones and the Cal High Culinary Arts Academy for again stepping up to, backed by popular demand. The Interfaith Food Center Planning Committee has asked them to return to their annual fundraiser. And as you can imagine, the Interfaith Food Center is receiving higher than normal requests for food, especially with the cost of food, the cuts to SNAP. And I'm so glad that Cal High will be involved again in that event. Thank you so much. And then congratulations to Dr. Oviedo on being invited to the SoCal Student Superintendent's Group. That's a big honor. And a couple of notes for the future. I'd like to let my colleagues know that I'm most likely to miss a big portion of the January 13th board meeting, as I'll be on the plane returning from Austria, where we're going to be dropping off my daughter Grace, who's going to be overseas. We were trying to get a nonstop flight a little earlier, but there aren't that many. So we won't be arriving to LAX until about 8:45. So I'm hoping to call in whenever I can to join you whatever business is left at that point. And then the other thing I'd like to let the board know, and the public, of course, the community, I will be remote for the February board meeting. I'll be in Washington, D.C. for work reasons, and I will go ahead and let you know my location, so that way we can go ahead and I can do a call or Zoom, whatever makes the most sense. And then, yes, as the Madam President, as you indicated, I do plan to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Yosh Nakamura, Jen Balog, and of course, to acknowledge the ongoing struggle of Marianne Fajardo and how inspiring she is to us. So I'll make that at the appropriate time. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castaneda Calleros. Ms. Panchola.
Yes, number one, it's just good to be here on so many different levels, like literally and figuratively. Just feel very blessed. I'll start with some of the activities. There have not been a lot of activities that I've attended. I wanted to do more site visits this last semester, but given the mastectomy and the recovery, and I literally had my first chemo treatment this morning, and but I really wanted to be here, and so I was literally playing it by ear because I wasn't sure if I was going to be physically able to join you. But I feel blessed that I'm around, so many of you that I respect and that I care about, and that, we're part of a team that really is working towards our students. But I did go to the Santa Fe Springs tree lighting ceremony, and our students performed. Santa Fe High School was there, and I'm just so proud of the talent, and they represent us so well as a district. I also, as it was mentioned earlier, I did attend the Model United Nations event. I was so impressed. It was the first time I've ever been. Mr. Reagan just has done such a great job with the team of alumni and our current students that are part of that whole process. There was 21 different schools that came to visit Cal High that day. And, I know Congresswoman Linda Sanchez did a really nice job at connecting the idea of working with people that might not necessarily think like you or be on the same political party, but that can work together to do great things. But more than that, I was truly impressed with the Cal High students. because I took some time to just ask them, you know, why are you interested in this? What got you into this? How do you prepare for this? And those students were more eloquent than a lot of the legislators that I speak with. And I totally mean that. And I was thinking, as they were, you know, responding to me, I was thinking, our nation's in the hands of these young people. And because of that, I think we're gonna be okay. You know, and so I was just so super impressed. They all look so chulos, you know, they're all in their suits and just looked amazing, and they represented our district at the highest level possible. So I was very impressed. And so I did want to thank you know, all of the Cal High staff, faculty, or principal for doing all that extra work to make that happen. It was just, you know, really amazing. Also, let's see. I went to the first responders breakfast this morning at Santa Fe Springs, and you know, it was like we were trying to collect toys for our local area children, and so my oncologist said, have a good breakfast before you come to the treatment. So I'm like, I'll have good breakfast with the firefighters and you know, police officers, and so my daughter accompanied me, and then you know, Assemblywoman Pacheco and the Senator Barbara Chuleta were there, and so I just invited them also to come out, you know, and visit some of our schools, and I wanted them to make sure that they're aware of the great things that happen at our school site. So I did kind of put in a little plug. In terms of our employees report, Mr. Leteria, just the fact that, you know, there was an additional $35,000 that was granted, that's like kudos to the great work, because other people are acknowledging what's happening. And so I just want to say congratulations for the great work. Mr. Francev, you know, I'm always inspired by your beautiful words. I've told you 1,000 times you need to write a book. I would be the first one to buy it, I guarantee you that much. And thank you for the reminders about what is, you know, truly life all about. And to honor those heroes that are having these, you know, fights, health fights, and they're still trying to do the work. You know, it's challenging for not just for the patient, but also for the entire family. And so thank you for reminding us of that. And I noticed your beautiful shirt and the you know, the great honor that you're doing by making that, you know, such a beautiful statement. And in terms of CSEA, you know, I just want to mention, you know, thank you for sharing those words, you know, in terms of your perspective with Mr. Mendez. I hope that, you know, we can all build, you know, the same kind of working relationship and a stronger working relationship with the organization. I mentioned at the last meeting that I was very grateful for the beautiful bouquet of flowers that was sent from your board, and that touched me a lot. So, you know, I hope that the new year brings us an opportunity to, you know, have great conversations and building a stronger relationship. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Conchola. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to discuss first district-related activity. First and foremost, I want to thank Principal Jones, Mr. Regan, and all the staff did a wonderful job in putting this Model UN event together. It was awesome to just see, you know, very bright minds in the gym. So thank you for that. And I want to thank whoever chose to have Carter speak. Those were my highlights for me anyway. When we go to events and we see students, either they're participating, they're speaking, those are things I love to see. So thank you, whoever made that happen. And also I did attend the CSBA over in Sacramento, and one of the highlights was one gubernatorial forum. Got to hear the candidates, you know, Ian Calderon, Antonio Villaraigosa, and others, and of course Mr. Thurman, Tony Thurman. So that was nice. That was nice to hear the thoughts of And their action plan, how to protect, public schools and, student achievement. So, and then I also attended an English learner workshop, and I'm gonna share some information with Dr. Oviedo on how better improve the English learner outcomes. And I did meet with Mr. Liggett, and I just want to say thank you for Mr. Liggett for taking the time, an hour actually. And we just broke down the data, student achievement data. Asked a lot of questions, and he had a lot of answers, and I was very pleased to see we're doing great. And I did share that with Dr. Oviedo. Let's keep it up, Dr. Oviedo. So I want to thank you, your staff, Mr. Liggett, and the principals out there, everyone. Thank you. And then finally, Mr. Francis, Marianne Fajardo, someone know who she is? Before I met her here. Her brother was a neighbor of mine. So that's a connection. When I saw her here, she goes, "Oh, you know my brother." And so, anyway, long story short, I did know her brother. So my thoughts are with her and the family, and him and I were cool. We played basketball together. So my thoughts are with her and the family. With that, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lopez. I'm going to keep mine short. I did also attend the CSBA conference. It was super informative. I did the new president's training, also a couple on policy making and strategic planning. I did visit Whittier High School. Thank you so much, Mr. Favela. That was a lot of fun. And I know we're going to plan for visits to La Serna and to Santa Fe in the next semester, so we'll get out there. I was also out at Cal High checking out the ROP programs, so that was great fun. The Whittier Union High School District Education Foundation had a meeting also earlier this month. I was not able to make it, but my understanding is we approved the expenditure of some funds to support the robotics program at La Serna. There's doing some travel. So please remember, number one, that there is this other foundation that supports the educational program for our current students. And then secondly, and most importantly, the year end is coming. Don't forget to make a donation to support the foundation. So I may try it, or somebody, our board president for the foundation will probably send out an email. So we need to keep growing that. And obviously, I wish everyone a happy holiday as you come back in January. I did want to add one last thing, and that was a congratulations to Trustee Castañeda Calleros for Stanford's big win over Cal for the Axe. I am apparently supposed to wear Stanford gear because we had I'm a big Cal alum and he's a Stanford alum, so there'll be a moment when I have to wear Stanford something or other. Won't be for long, but we'll deliver to our dad. And with that concludes my remarks.
Madam President, may I
yes.
have one comment that I forgot? And that's very important.
Yes.
I wanted to just give kudos to the Titans for going to the championship.
Yes.
And, we might have not won, but in my eyes, those young men are big-time winners. So I just want to so super proud of them. And although I was physically unable to go to the game, Dr. Oviedo was on texting me and giving me the updates, and she knew how much this is important to me. So congratulations.
She's pacing like the head coach.
Thank you for that, Ms. Controller. That you're right. That was Ms. Wallace. All right, let me move to our next item, which is the superintendent's report. District events update.
Yes.
Yep.
So good evening. As the semester winds down, I can't believe we're already next week, our finals. We have some key events that I want to share with you. Thursday is an eventful day across Whittier Union with numerous key events that are happening. Our annual choir festival will take place at 10 a.m. at the Whittier College Chapel and concludes about 12 noon. Frontier's Zoot Suit performance takes place in the Sierra Gym, 2 performances at 9:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. Santa Fe is hosting a posada in the cafeteria from 5 to 8 with the debut of their mariachi at 6 p.m. Saturday is the Whittier Christmas Parade. We will be there at 9 a.m. with coffee, donuts, holiday hats, and headbands, and look forward to riding with our site leaders, our cabinet, and of course our CSEA colleagues down the parade route. The parade route does kick off at 10 a.m. sharp. Be sure to dress in your favorite holiday attire. Next week's events include our annual district holiday lunch on Tuesday, December 17 at 10 a.m. Thank you. December 16 from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the Sierra Gym. For each of these events, please let Olga know or myself if you will be in attendance. Also, semester finals will begin next Wednesday and conclude on Friday, and we wish all of our students well in their earnest preparation and successful completion of these very important exams. Following the conclusion of finals, our schools will be closed to the public on Monday, from Christmas Eve through New Year's Day. Students will return to campuses on Monday, January 6th. I have one more that just came off the press, but I am pleased to share with you that our annual Williams visit went well. The report noted we had 2 unannounced visits, both to Whittier High School, one for sufficiency of materials and the other for facilities, and we are proud to announce that the school earned a good rating on both. Pretty good for a school that's 125 years old. This doesn't conclude my report because it just was shared with me hot off the press that we have 2 teachers, one of them who was here, don't see her at this moment, but Amy Lunny and Kathy Abel, 2 of our teachers at Lucerna High School, successfully passed all parts of National Board certification. So huge endeavor. And that now concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Let's now move to the consent calendar. Does anyone want to pull any items? If not, then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conchola and seconded by Mr. Lopez. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, I think there is one item that needs to be pulled.
Okay.
I think we need to pull 14.12, the approval of field trips.
All right, so let me go back. Is the motion to approve the consent calendar, all items except for 14.12, is that a friendly amendment, Mr. Lopez?
Absolutely.
Okay, and seconded, still Ms. Conchola?
Yeah, it's 14.2.
Not 12?
Thank you.
Okay, 14.2, pardon me.
14.2.
So the motion is to approve the consent calendar with the exception of 14.02. Mr. Lopez has made the motion, Ms. Conchola has seconded it. Any other discussion? Nope. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, 14.02, do I have a motion to approve 14.02 for purposes of discussion?
So moved.
A second.
I'll second.
Okay.
So if there is a piece on an approval for Cal High for our Puente activity, so I want to recuse myself so there's no conflict of interest.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Conchola will not vote, will not be present during that item. You can still stay. You just will be marked as only present. All right, any other discussion on 14.02?
No further discussion.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries 3-0. All right.
301.
3-0, motion doesn't count. You don't, I think you.
Oh, okay.
You'll just write in the narrative that she was absent.
Yes. Okay, so then that takes us to item 15.
No.
No. Now we're gonna go to
We're
the move
jumping
down
to 1603.
to 1603, which is consider approval to notify Tri-Cities Regional Occupational Program of efforts to study the feasibility of withdrawing from the Joint Powers Authority, resolution number 2526-22. Who will start with the report?
I'm going to ask Mr. Jamero to briefly share the need for this resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Oviedo. In response to conversation and recommendations of the board at last month's meeting, we are committed to study the potential of bringing additional CTE programs within the Whittier Union High School District and consider this option to include withdrawing from Tri-Cities ROP. Our JPA agreement requires that in order to withdraw, official notice of withdrawal must occur prior to December 31st in the year in which the withdrawal is to be effective at the end of the fiscal year. Based on the board's direction, we would then continue to explore potential financial savings that may be achieved through our withdrawal, then bring our findings and recommendations back to the board for future consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Francet. Do I have a motion?
I'll move so we can begin discussion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Castaneda Calleros, seconded by Ms. Canchola. All right, discussion. Mr. Lopez.
Madam Chair, Madam President, I do have questions for Mr. Jamero on what he just mentioned. Mr. Jamero, you just mentioned there's the possibility of bringing new programs to the district. What are they?
I think part of the consideration is looking at existing programs that are supported through Tri-Cities RFP, as well as additional CTE programs that we've discussed in prior discussions here at the board level regarding CTE programs that maybe students have left our district for, and that we've seen in other area districts, so that would be part of the exploration. An example of that would be potential aviation as one example, among others.
A secondary is welding. An additional is a pathway for education. Those are some that we shared with the declining enrollment and the inter-district permit requests out of the
Any other questions? Or please go
I
ahead.
do have additional questions, but maybe you can come back to me.
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. Controla? Oh, Dr. Castaneda Calleros?
Oh, I'll be happy to, Ms. Controller. Did you want to?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
No, just more of a statement. Thank you, Madam President. Just more of a statement. I'm in favor of the conduct of a comprehensive review, just to be able to determine what's going to be in the best interest of the district. And I appreciate the analysis that Mr. Jamero referred to. I also, I'm reflecting upon the comments we received today during public comment. I'm very mindful that if we go in this direction, and there's no decision about making a withdrawal today, it's just an intent to withdraw, which allows us the time to do this analysis, which is very important, very timely given our budget situation, and given the possibility of identifying retention tools. But I do want to note in number 4, this might be a really good area to look at if we want to amend the transition plan, given the request that we received tonight by Trustee Mejia, just to be able to provide enough of a transition timeframe that makes sense, it's reasonable. So I just wanted to note that, and to note that I warmly received the comments that were provided today. And I'm interested to hear more from my colleagues in case you have any other points or questions regarding this topic. Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
So, kind of reflecting on your statement right now, Trustee Castaneda Calleros, the one thing that really resounded with me was the 51 years of partnership. So I would also ditto all of your comments in terms of really looking at the partnership and what that relates. And then also, of course, taking into consideration the realities of the state of California and the federal assistance that we are being limited on from the White House. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez, anything else?
Yeah, I do have some questions.
Please, and then I'll go after you.
So here's a concern with the resolution, knowing that we have 50 plus employees, correct, under Tri-Cities RFP. And then for them to see something like this, there's heightened anxiety, obviously, if they see something like this, or withdrawal. So with that in mind, I just want to know what the plan is with this. I know it's just trying to explore it, if we're gonna withdraw, but what are we doing about the employees at this moment if they see this, or if we get an email from Dr. Smith, which is our superintendent from Tri-Cities?
I think what we have really tried to do is be on, again, Whittier Union represents Whittier Union employees, and Dr. Smith represents Tri-Cities ROP employees. And although those employees work with Whittier Union families on Whittier Union campuses, I think that the messaging will be very important. And I appreciate the messaging that Dr. Smith has already provided to his staff, articulating that we have had a very positive relationship, that there are quality programs. This is not about a concern regarding the quality of the programs. But in Whittier Union, this is we're really looking at all the different ways that we need to analyze our budget and that declining enrollment and how we can attract additional students. For several of the programs that we currently have, we have very robust attendance in those programs, and there's still going to be a need, I would say now more than ever, a desire by many students to be career ready and to be taking career tech ed courses. And so the demand for those courses is still going to be there, regardless of whether they are served as a Whittier Union employee or a Tri-Cities employee. This is just the first step to ensure that we are meeting a timeline established in the agreement when it was established in 1974, and to be able to do that with the best transparency. And so I appreciate that Dr. Smith and I talk to each other regularly, that we can communicate. We'll be very open and communicating with him in the weeks and months to come as we study this issue, and look forward to bringing back more information to you regarding the budget, regarding a potential extended off-ramp in the months and the years to come.
So, from the resolution, I know President Mejia mentioned about maybe a year transition. Would this resolution be satisfy such request? And I know Dr. Castaneda-Calleros alluded to and supported that idea as well.
This particular resolution would be required for withdrawal effective June 30th, 2026, as currently drafted. So just to be clear.
So as we study this issue more, we would anticipate bringing you a more robust presentation in the spring, and then making any recommendations at that time regarding a new resolution, potentially extending or withdrawing the resolution.
Dr. Castaneda-Calleros?
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for that comment and question, and thank you, Mr. Jamero and Dr. Oviedo, for answering. And I'm noting here there is language number 4, including negotiating. So this is not, even though I hear you saying 6 months, this is effective June 30th, what I'm hearing from Dr. Oviedo is that we're going to have a chance to revisit that and kind of figure out and define what is reasonable. Right, in terms of the
There'd be
impact.
nothing precluding the board from amending a future resolution to adjust the timeline or to withdraw our notification. So it really is an option that was, I think, discussed at the last meeting that's presented in this particular format. It may be amended, or it can be considered as is and reconsidered at a future meeting.
I think that really goes to the heart of my question, because clearly subsection 2 discusses that we will withdraw on June 30, 2026. And so our sense is that we'd probably get a report probably in May to tell us what are the pros and the cons, and potentially time frame, and then options at that point, whether to amend, withdraw this resolution. Is that what you're expecting?
We would anticipate even prior to May and try to expedite the analysis. I will tell you the analysis is somewhat complex in that when we look at our direct contribution to Tri-Cities ROP, it is $1.5 million. And for $1.5 million, the course offerings across the district are substantial. So there's value for that 1.5. The exploration is really, and I kudos to Tri-Cities ROP and Dr. Smith and his team, who have leveraged contribution dollars with CTIG grant funds and K-12 Strong Workforce Grant Funds in a partnership with Pretzel Development to bring additional resources to Tri-Cities ROP. So part of that analysis would include what additional resources could Whittier Union leverage in addition to the savings on the $1.5 million contribution if this board considered withdrawing. Would there be the ability for Whittier Union to leverage additional grant funding in a way that is beneficial to the district beyond our current model?
Thank you. I'm going to add a couple of items that you probably already have in your analysis that I'd be interested in seeing as you come back. Obviously, you described the economic impact, which is, are there savings to be had? There was reference by Ms. Mejia about grants that Tri-Cities ROP gets. They work very hard for. How would we supplant or supplement or do what we're going to do with that? I'm also very curious about the employee status, that is, the teachers who would now belong to Whittier Union High School District. What's going to happen to them? Do they get tenure? How does that impact cost? And then I think a very big important piece to me is also the programmatic control and supervision that we would have. Does it get increased? Does it get, how would it differ from how it currently works? Those would just be some of the items I'd like to see in your analysis. Thank you.
One
Please,
other
Mr.
item,
Lopez.
one other item, Madam President. Of course, does it impact the, our bargaining units? Do they automatically be absorbed with the this bargaining unit? So I just, one of those things that I want to know as well.
All right, so any other discussion? We've had a motion and a second. Let me go ahead and call the question, unless there's any other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes 4-0. Okay, so then let's go to item 1604, which is consider approval of the process for filling a Board of Trustee vacancy, provisional appointment, or special election. And I think, Dr. Oviedo, this is you?
Yes, this is me, and I'm going to need some help. Thank you. Okay. So with the, I'm going to share with you a little bit of information. The first step in the process of filling a vacancy is having received a letter of resignation from Mr. Mendez. This is a deferred resignation. We knew about it at the last month, but it was dated December 9th. By Ed Code and Government Code, we need to make a decision within 60 days to either make a provisional appointment or order an election. And so counting forward from December 9th, we arrive at February 7, 2026. The option of having a special election is that we would typically jump on to the next regularly scheduled election, which is June 2nd, 2026. And as Mr. Prather said, talking to the Registrar Recorder, Alex Olvera, who works in that office, the estimated cost is actually $140,000. The challenge with going on to the June 2nd regularly scheduled election is the trustee area is expected to open for the nomination period, trustee area 5, on July 13th. So to have an election on June 2, the candidates would not even be certified, and the person would already be going to run again. Next, if Whittier Union were to have a Whittier-only special election, according to Mr. Olvera, that we should anticipate the costs to be 5 to 8 times more expensive. am waiting for an official estimate, but he did share with me that it would be dependent on when we would be looking at a provisional appointment and that process if you were to choose to do that. So he told me that it would be a 5 to 8 times more expensive, somewhere in the range of between $700,000 and $1.12 million. That does track, if you recall, in 2023, we did fill a vacancy for Dr. Pacheco, a fairly similar sized trustee area, a little bit larger by about 4,000 registered voters, and back then the cost was $1.008 million for a special election. In working through preparing this presentation, I did speak with Mr. Olvera, who is the LA County Registrar Recorder, Election Information and Preparation Division Manager. I've also been in contact with Dr. Allison Deegan from Los Angeles County Office of Education, Regionalized Business Services Coordinator, and of course, Legal Counsel, Mr. Gallagher. So if the board were to choose to have a provisional appointment, the process would look something like this: an advertisement first. We've already notified our community initially of the resignation of Mr. Mendez and notified the community that the board would be talking about this evening. We would have an advertisement, and I'll walk through a more timeline in just a moment, but there would be an application process, screening of applications solely for the purposes of determining their eligibility, and I'll explain the eligibility criteria in a moment. The board would have a subcommittee of less than a quorum, so for our size board, you would have 2 members who would determine, confirm eligibility, and you would do that also with the Los Angeles County Registrar Recorder, who would confirm the address and all of the other criteria with the trustee area 5 map. We would announce to our community and try to cast a wide net of communication for announcement of all of the eligible candidates. There would then be, in a public meeting, a special meeting would be scheduled with candidate interviews for all of the eligible candidates, and the board would accept all oral and written input leading up to that particular special meeting. There would be a deliberation and a vote, as was your past practice in 2023. That deliberation and vote occurred all on the same day. And then once the selection was made by majority vote, and then we would have advertised the provisional selection based on the government and ed codes and seat that provisional appointment. I'm going to deep dive a little bit more deeply. So back to the requirement for the governing board members, 18 years or older, a citizen of California. We are trustee area, so they must be a resident of trustee area 5. They must be a registered voter, and they must not be disqualified by the Constitution of the state from holding a civil office. And an example of that would be a felony conviction. A draft appointment process could look like this. December 10th, as early as tomorrow, we would announce the vacancy. We would run that in our local daily news and other news periodicals, as well as with many, the cities, the chambers, different nonprofit service organizations, etc. January 5, we would run, that application process would occur from potentially December 15th through January 5, which is a Monday. In my SUPS report, I mentioned that we were coming back on Monday, but the students are coming back on Tuesday, January 6th. But the deadline for applications might be through January 4, based on the board's discretion. And then the week of January 5, we would work with that board quorum to determine, or less than a quorum, to determine the eligibility for those candidates. On January 12, we would make sure to do a report to the community announcing who those candidates are, and a special board meeting, most likely right around Saturday, January 17th, would make sense. The provisional appointment could then be sworn in as early as January 7th after approval at the board meeting, but the next regularly scheduled meeting is February 10th. And that person would serve until the end of the term, which is November of 2026. Do you remember that July is when the candidate period opens for an actual election in November of 2026, unless an election petition is successful. Immediately following that selection, we would need to advertise and post the following information: the date of the resignation of Mr. Mendez, the full name of the appointee, the date of the appointment, and a statement notifying the voters that unless a petition calling for a special election is filed by the with the Office of the County Superintendent within 30 days of the provisional appointment, it shall become effective. And then the registrar recorder does have 30 days to certify signatures. That process for the certification of signatures is called the public right to petition for a special election. The petition must state the cost of the election and the cost per student. At that point, I would receive a formal cost from the registrar recorder. They have 30 days to gather signatures from the date of the appointment. It must be 1.5% of the district's registered voters for trustee area 5. And as I mentioned, they have 30 days to, the LA registrar recorder, 30 days to certify signatures. So with that in mind, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have or return it to you all for discussion.
Any questions for Dr. Oviedo?
No questions for me, it was very clear.
Mr. Lopez?
What does the ed code say, Dr. Oviedo? My understanding is there is a time window, right, where if it's less than 4 months, there's no election. It's, 6 months or 130.
If you're within 120 days, you don't have the process that just goes to the next election, but we are outside of that 120 days.
Okay.
Dr. Oviedo, Mr. Prater referenced a difference in terms of the cost. And you've personally spoken with the registrar recorder's office about the $140,000 cost if we were to do it. Okay, thank you.
He did share with me, though, that based on the time frame that would be, and when you look at the elections, that would be difficult based on the timing of this process and their next regularly scheduled election, which is in April, which actually is, they're coming up on the candidate filing period very soon.
And the presentation referenced a July candidate nomination.
So because trustee area 5 has its election in November, the candidate open period starts in July 13th, I believe.
I see, for the intent to run in the November.
I also would note that any statement by a candidate regarding to electing not to run in November would be a violation of their First Amendment rights to run. So it would not be, it could not be upheld.
Okay, members of the board.
Yes.
Obviously, this is our discussion, but do I have a motion in any way to consider an option here? Mr. Lopez?
Yeah, just a discussion and a scenario that could occur.
Do we have to move in second to begin discussion here?
I think it was just discussion.
Let's do the discussion and then because I think it may inform the motion.
Okay.
Yeah,
So go ahead, Mr. Lopez.
hear me out here. Now, one, I'm not okay with spending millions of dollars, for a special election. Two, I think there's some options though that I believe that we can do this in the spirit of democracy. The sooner the better. And if we know to the public that we're going to have a June election, I think it would dissuade folks that would challenge our decision. Hear me out on this. So we, there is some time. There's some time to, if we have a full appointment for a full term, so that the person would be there, and then there is a challenge, possible challenge, right? That means that they only have a certain amount of time to challenge. But if we say, let's have a June election, so why am I going to spend a lot of time and energy, right? If we're going to challenge the board's decision knowing that there's a June election. So I'm in this mindset to have a June election. I understand there's a July 13 nomination period, I get that. Well, guess what? The person has a chance to, file papers immediately. So I'm comfortable with 140,000 and to have a special, or be part of this regular scheduled election. And the reason is the spirit of democracy. I know Mr. Castañeda Calleros mentioned democracy is fragile at the MUN event. And, I want to be able to elect someone, have the people elect as soon as possible. So I just want to, be able to entertain that idea, Madam President.
Just to be clear then, you're in favor of not appointing anyone and then just holding, at least preliminarily, and then waiting until the July election?
I'm okay with appointing someone, for the, obviously, but to have an election in on June 2nd.
I see, so an appointment through the June election.
Yeah. And then, again, I like Mr. Prather's idea, just say, hold the seat till June 2nd, and promise to, not run.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Dr. Rubio.
So any candidate that has to run in the June election would also have to run in the November election. So the June election cannot replace the regularly November election for trustee area 5. So if I'm hearing correctly, the request is that you would appoint in February and then look to have a special election that any candidates would run in, pay their filing fees and have that election. They would then have to turn around in July and run for the November.
They must?
Yes.
They must, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
All right, any other, if I may go to Ms. Conchola first?
So, we're not gonna know how the budget's gonna look for a while, right? And even $140,000 might not appear to be a lot of money, but I know that that's $140,000 that can be used for programming and for staffing and for all other things. And I think that if we do a good enough job of really advertising for applicants for an appointment, that there's a lot of very talented people in District 5 that can apply. And so I really think that in terms of the fiscal responsibility that we carry as a board, that we should consider an appointment.
Madam President?
Yes.
Could I add one thing?
Yes, please.
The challenge with moving this item out of order you are going to have an update in a little while from Mr. Jamero regarding the second interim. And in our conversations, the second interim always requires us to approve this year's budget, next year, and the out year. The out year, as you know, is always a challenge because of the nature of California funding for schools these days. It's one-time monies. And so in that out year, Mr. Jamero was going to share with you that we are very close to not making our 3% reserve. And Mr. Jamero, if you could please let me know what that dollar amount that you shared with me, that was
104,000.
So we are only to the good 104,000 in the out year. So if we were to schedule that election at the next time Mr. Jamero brings to you a budget, it most likely would be an unqualified budget because of our inability to meet our 3% reserve in the out year.
Thank you. Dr. Castañeda Calleros?
No, thank you for that. And I want to thank Dr. Prather for speaking earlier today. And I was taking notes about the 3 different avenues that we could take
And I also appreciate being reminded that I did, when I introduced Congressman Sanchez on Sunday, if you were there, you heard me say our democracy has been under attack this year, and our Constitution has been threatened many times this year. And I do hear the doing what's best for our democracy, and I acknowledge that argument. It was mentioned again just a short time ago by Mr. Lopez. But having heard that, I also want to do what's best for the district. And as a trustee, there are a confluence of factors that have to be taken into effect. We have to look at the climate. So the cost of an election, whether it's $143,000 or $140,000 for a June 2nd election, or $700K, $1.12 million, which is the range. I agree with Trustee Canchola, that's something that we can't really tolerate right now. And when you look at the confluence of factors, we have to read the room. We have to look at an $18 billion state budget deficit next year, and then a $35 billion budget deficit the following year. Those are not going away. We also have federal budget uncertainty, given that there's freezes on federal funding, and then a pause on federal funding, and then money being pulled back. And just today, it sounds like the Department of Education is hiring people back. So there's a lot of uncertainty at that level. And then inflation is scheduled to be a factor until at least late spring. And we don't know if that's coming back or not either. Secondly, this iteration of the board has experience with an appointment process, having appointed Ms. Canchola in June of 23, 2 years ago. And the fruits of that decision have served us well. Ms. Canchola was overwhelmingly elected by the voters in November of 24. Third, given that the appointee would be appointed within an election year, the voters still have a chance to make an impact in the November 2026 election. And I'm not interested in asking candidates to commit not to running. I don't think that's a wise decision, and we just heard why in terms of violation of their rights, their First Amendment rights. And I acknowledge that it's a very difficult decision. I was thinking about how do we satisfy, how do we find a compromise, but I think it's just best if we have a clean appointment process and we start advertising tomorrow, and that given that the factors I just mentioned, I think that's the most prudent way forward. Thank you.
Let me do this at this point. Let me ask for a motion and a second, and then we'll continue the discussion because I haven't had a chance to make any comments. Dr. Castañeda-Calleros, was that you making a motion to proceed with the provisional appointment process as described?
That's my motion. So that we can continue discussion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Lopez, anything else? I want to make a couple comments.
Go ahead after you.
Okay. I too have struggled with what's the right balance here. The balance of the promotion of our democracy. And then when I look at the $140,000 cost for that special June election, quite frankly, I was surprised it was much less than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more costly. But I also want to balance out the fact that this board does best when it's got 5 members, as opposed to just the 4 of us. Even though the 4 of us, I think, are going to do some great stuff over the next few months. And I'd like to have somebody representing, coming from Trustee Area 5 to come in and join our robust discussions sooner rather than later. So when I balance it all out and the fact that the person is going to be up for election should they choose to run, really within 10 months of an appointment or 9 months of an appointment, I too am leaning towards a provisional appointment. But it is a very tough balance because I see the benefits, but I also see the confusion about when you have to reapply, and I just think having somebody in that seat sooner rather than later is best for our district. Mr. Lopez.
Yeah. Thank you. And there's a future item. Speaking of future items, Mr. Jamero, there's a study session about maybe early retirement, in which could save more than, let's be honest, $1 million. $1 million potential savings. there's other, all these scenarios, right? And that's more than 140,000. So I want to point that out because I think we can. I think we have enough experts. Let's be honest, we have enough experts here on the dais, in the audience. They can find 140,000. I'm not get outvoted. I know that. I get it. But we have enough experts here to find. Now I would argue about saying finding 1.7 or $1 million. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be the person. Hey, hold back. But we have enough experts here to find 140,000 to have an election for democracy purposes. It's just not uncomfortable. And yes, you can argue, so Jaime, you did it for, Trustee Cochola. You're right. But guess what? We have scenarios now. We have the options. That's the reason. That's the reason I'm looking at that. But again, we're pretty elite, in my opinion, and I want an elite district to find $140,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the board? Hearing no comment, then I will call the question. I do think this requires a roll call vote, please.
Roll call?
Roll call, please.
Sure. Trustee Lopez?
Do you want me to repeat the motion?
Yes, please.
The motion is to approve this process to make a provisional appointment in the timeline described by Dr. Oviedo by February.
So a full appointment, the remaining.
A provisional appointment.
Yes.
No.
Trustee Canchola?
Yes.
Trustee Castaneda Calleros?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez Moisa?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Now, there's, in the discussion, you had referenced a subcommittee to check eligibility. I'd like to see who's interested from our board in working with Dr. Oviedo on the confirming the eligibility criteria. Is anybody interested on the board?
I wish I could. I'm not
You're
going to
just
be
busy?
around.
Busy? Okay,
Yeah.
I am available, but we need to, I think we should have two. Mr. Lopez, Ms. Canchola.
I'm interested, I just don't know my physical abilities at the moment, and my reaction to my ongoing treatment, so that's the only reason I wouldn't be able to do that.
And Dr. Oviedo, does it require two?
No, it just cannot be, a quorum.
Mr. Lopez, I can appreciate that perhaps since you weren't in favor of this process, that you wouldn't want to participate, but would you participate with me in screening?
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. So the subcommittee shall be Mr. Lopez and myself to screen the eligibility of the candidates. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we need to go back to 15.01. Which is a presentation regarding the post-sale measure AA bond financing results.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, and so next I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jamero, who will introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Oviedo. Joining us this evening is Mr. Chet Wang, Managing Director from Keegan Advisors. And ahead of this presentation, just want to offer my thanks for him being here this evening, as well as all of his work shepherding us through the bond process. So Mr. Wang is here this evening to share the outcome of our latest bond issuance. Mr. Wang.
Thank you, Mr. Jamero, and good evening, Madam President, Board Trustees, and Dr. Oviedo. As Mr. Jamero mentioned, we had a very successful bond sale, and tonight's presentation will briefly touch on the steps taken going up to the sale results, and what the final debt service costs are to district taxpayers. So just a review of the interest rate environment, you can see we started planning the bond financing in August of 2025, and that was before the Fed started cutting rates for the 2025 calendar year. And you can see by really a stroke of luck, we locked in rates after interest rates have dropped. You can see that spike in April of 2025. That's when federal tariffs were implemented. Interest rates spiked. They've since tapered down, and we're very fortunate to have benefited from the overall lower rate environment in this calendar calendar year. So we benefited externally from a strong interest rate environment. Internally, the district has very strong credit rating characteristics. If you look at the table to the right, the district has a double A1 credit rating from Moody's. That's one level off from the highest AAA credit rating, and it's typically those districts that are basic A districts in the Bay Area that we see with a AAA rating, so you're one level off of that. And just to take a quote directly from Moody's, the bottom one, Moody's really gave a lot of kudos to district management and the board. And so I'll read this. District's management team is experienced and demonstrates good governance as shown by conservative budgeting. So that was really a strong factor in addition to some of the other things like the economy that weighed into the district's credit rating. Now this next slide has a lot of numbers, but I'll draw your eyes to the very far right. We went to market on the same day as Santa Monica Malibu, a financing that is 3 times the size, and that is a basic A district. And on the Standard & Poor's rating, they actually have 2 notches higher. Now, let's set aside that Whittier is awesome, but all things equal, a basic A district with 2 notches higher on Standard & Poor's with 3 times the financing size should do better and should get lower interest rates, probably up to about 5 basis points or so, 5 to 10 even. And you can see on the very far right, there were some years where Santa Monica outperformed by 1 basis point, 3 basis points, and there were other years, as highlighted in green, where we either broke even or outperformed Santa Monica Malibu on the same day. So I think that really speaks to the desirability of Whittier Union High School District. And I heard Ms. Controller mention, there are decisions that the board makes that has an impact to students. And there are decisions that also impact investors. And we were joking during the bond sale, here's a list of the various investors that bought your bonds. BlackRock, Nuveen, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Franklin, PIMCO, Bank of America. These are the who's who of top tier investors. And the joke was that BlackRock took time away from their day controlling the world to look at the Whittier bonds. So your policies impact your credit rating, and that makes Whittier High's bonds desirable to investors. So we had $45.8 million of bonds to sell. We received orders of $135 million. That's almost 3 times the amount of demand. And on the far right, you can see it really, the underwriting team led by Piper Sandler really catered your bonds to a diverse group of investors. You had banks, bond funds, private wealth, separately managed accounts, institutional investors, money managers, all different types of institutional investors participated in the sale of your bonds. So what does that mean as far as the total cost? When we were at the board, when the board approved this resolution, we had to make good faith estimates. So we had originally estimated a true interest cost of 4.69%. We came in about 0.75% below that, underneath 4%, at 3.94%. We originally estimated debt service, so principal plus interest, of about $74 million. You came in at about $68.5 million, so about $5.5 million lower. And a repayment ratio, which is debt service divided by principal, 1.49 versus 1.61. And on the chart on the very bottom, you'll recall that Measure AA would not increase tax rates above what you were already paying on Measure W and Measure C. And Measure W and Measure C are represented by those maroon bars. Measure AA has maintained that promise that was made when these bonds were passed. So a very successful sale. We got lucky, but the district's also done a lot of good things to leverage the luck that we had in the overall interest rate environment. So I really commend district staff, Mr. Jumero, Dr. Oviedo, and the board really for setting the stage for a successful bond sale. And welcome any questions you may have.
Any questions? Dr. Castaneda?
Just more of an observation and gratitude than a question. I'm just very pleased with the results. Mr. Wayne, thank you so much for this presentation, and I think you're right, you hit the nail on the head. We timed it just right in terms of being able to lock in those rates when we did. So I appreciate all your work and the work of Mr. Jamero and Mr. Escobar and the entire finance team and Dr. Oviedo. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just ditto. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez, anything?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Madam President. What does that mean, the savings?
So the savings is best explained by the difference between the estimated debt service at the time the board approved the resolution. That was $73.9 million, and with the final interest rates that we got, very competitive to Santa Monica Malibu, our total debt service is $68.5 million. So a savings really of $5.4 million.
5.4 million. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Those savings are recognized by the taxpayer and the property tax bills as they come due as these bonds mature. So we're very grateful for that. As we've talked about the day before, kind of in our pre-sale meeting, we were looking at kind of projected indicators of interest rates and what we thought we'd get. And I told Chad, I take it today if you can deliver that tomorrow. And our underwriters actually, along with Chad and the team, really delivered even below that. I told them if we hit 4%, it'd be great. We hit below 4%. We are a bit lucky. You couldn't have picked looked into a crystal ball and timed it better. And we're grateful for that. So I just want to thank Chad, his team at TGen, along with our bond counsel, Nick here at Stradling, and our underwriter team of Piper, Sandler, and Ramirez. So thank you all for your support. For somebody who does this once every 2 years, having an expert team behind us is really helpful.
Mr. Wright, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again and having you produce those exact same results. No pressure. Thank you so much. Appreciate your service to us. All right, let's now go to item number 16.01, consider expulsion of a Whittier Union High School District student. There has to be a special type of motion.
Move that pursuant to the requirements of Education Code 48918F, we accept the findings and recommendations of the administrative hearing panel regarding the expulsion of our high school student number 208962.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call a vote. Does this require a roll call or it can be a voice vote? All right, let's call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 4-0. All right, let's go to 16.02, consider approval of memorandum of understanding with the Whittier Regional Symphony. Is this you, Dr. Oviedo?
This is me, and this is no other changes to the terms except for to extend for an additional 2 years for the Whittier Regional Symphony. The Whittier Regional Symphony has been in existence for 92 years, and they offer 3 free concerts to our community, as well as a free concert to all 4th and 5th graders of all of the partner elementary school districts. And we would request approval of this resolution.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Conchola and seconded by Mr. Lopez. Any discussion? Yes, Dr. Castaneda Gallegos?
I would just like to go on record and say that I really value this partnership that we have with the Whittier Regional Symphony, and it's connected so many members of our community to classical music and live performance, and they're a jewel in our community, and I look forward to working with them.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez?
I know it may be out of line here on this one, but is it possible to request a piece if they can play a certain piece? It's from Arturo Marquez, which is a composer from Mexican composer. Danzón number 2. I know we're just approving the MOU, but maybe in the future.
All right, a point of personal privilege by Mr. Lopez. And Dr. Oviedo, you can pass that request along.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
follow
you.
up with you to make sure I get it.
Okay, thank you.
So I would like to add to that comment.
Okay.
Because I've seen a lot of TikToks about, different universities and high schools and middle schools that have orchestras and bands, etc., that are playing like a lot of culturally enriched pieces that reflect their community. So that's how I would ask to frame it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Okay, very good. All right, let's see, any other discussion, and then we'll call for a vote. All right, all those in favor of item 16.02, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 4-0. All right, we took care of 03, 04. I think we're on 1605, so I think this is Mr. Jamero.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, thank you. This presentation will reflect our first interim financial budget, reflecting the time period from July 1 through October 31st. I'll introduce the presentation saying we are definitely in uncertain budget times, and I think that's kind of the theme we've heard today and some of the comments already made. We are looking and the unenviable responsibility in the business office that I serve to try to project and predict the future. You know, I wish our crystal ball was always as clear as what Mr. Wayne had regarding interest rates and the bond sales environment. The California state budget doesn't have necessarily that crystal ball look into the future, although we are anticipating more information coming up in the January budget proposal from the governor. This slide, if you'll recall, is our annual budget cycle. We are here in December where the arrow points to. First interim budget presentation looking at revisions to the budget through October 31st. Most notably up next in January, we'll start to hear more information that will impact all of the numbers that we have currently in our budget binder. In January, we'll hear new information about any revisions to projected future COLAs, budget forecasts related to Prop 98 guarantees to school districts, and even with that, and you'd think that in the years that we've had with local control funding formula, it sounds like projecting funding should be as simple as a formula, right? Plug in your assumptions and get your numbers. Not that simple, right? When the mechanism, the legislature has the opportunity to suspend Prop 98, or there is a projected budget shortfall in the non-Prop 98 side, and Dr. Castaneda-Calleros referenced large budget deficits in the non-educational side of the budget. So really, we're trying to project and predict what might happen in January, and even at that point, between January and the end of our budget cycle and the final state adoption in June, is kind of fraught with uncertainty. So I will say that as a preface. Our general fund budget assumptions, this reflects adjustments from the last time we presented our budget in August, changes to some of the assumptions. We are down a little bit on our average daily attendance, about 25 students. That reflects an enrollment drop of about 50 of what we predicted, followed by an increase in our average daily attendance rate. So the net 50 decline in enrollment really is only impacting by about 25 students. Our duplicated pupil percentage increased by 0.1% over our last assumptions, which increased our per pupil funding by $11 per student. You wrap that up, the LCFF funding is predicted to drop by about $315,000 of what we projected in August. If you notice though at the bottom line, total projected general fund income improves by $4.8 million. Where does that come from? Really restricted one-time money, and I'll explain that. So in the next slide, we roll over those values. LCFF funding, again, down $315,000. Federal funding up 4.1. And I'll clarify that of the 4.1, 3.1 is an EPA bus grant. So EPA bus grant we've applied for and we've received, and as the buses come in, we spend that money out of Fund 63, the transportation fund. However, when we receive those grants, we have to receive them and hold them in the general fund until they're expended out of Fund 63. So of the 4.1 million, 3.1 is simply passing through the general fund, and you'll see resolutions later this agenda or in consent, and also in the future as those buses come in, we'll pay that out or transfer that to Fund 63, the transportation fund for expenditure. So 3.1 of the 4.1 additional federal dollars is simply passing through the general fund. Other state revenue up a little bit, $53,000. Local revenue, $1 million, which is significant. That is based on assumptions we're seeing from our site ASPs. So as ASPs generate more revenue at their site, we've revised our assumptions to include more fundraising activities, about $1 million. That money will stay with the site ASPs and will be spent by them. So although our general fund reflects that increase in income, it's also going to be reflected in expenses from site ASPs. So overall, the $4.8 million in additional revenue, really it's just a small increase in Title I funding that we're going to recognize and be able to spend for programmatic purposes. We've seen this graph before, our prior projected income. Notice it looks like we flattened out a little bit in 25-26. Again, that's reflected because of that increase or that pass-through of funds. Really kind of looks like that line is flattening out. But still projected, when we look at LCFF in the future, projected income declining. It's a little bit misleading in that what's not included in here in our projected income is any shortfall, any money that the state owes us from prior fiscal years due to underestimating Prop 98 guarantees. How we will receive that is unclear. So part of it is we get the LCFF formula funding. If Prop 98 guarantees school districts more than what's allocated through LCFF, and that can occur in a declining enrollment environment, we'll have to wait and see how legislatively that money is awarded. Oftentimes it's one-time grant money that can be funded at different grade levels. So we'll wait and see in January on what direction the governor may take on how that money might be allocated. About the same here, a little bit of an increase in the size of the chart for federal revenue. Again, LCFF source is still the majority of our funding at about 71%. Expenses, again, outpacing revenues. Again, with 76.3, that's right on our number where we were the last time we presented, 76.3% of salaries and benefits for our expenses. This demonstrates our deficit, about $10 million in deficit. Again, we do know that there is additional funding that we anticipate in the future budgets that may have closed that deficit. We cannot project it right now and predict what that dollar amount might be. We do know, and as we've been working with our Budget Stabilization Committee, and as you've heard tonight, we've been talking about finances a lot in the last several months. Later item will be related, our PARS consideration related to this. That would be part of closing that budget deficit, in addition to some of the other recommendations that are being developed through our Budget Stabilization Committee. Kind of summing up our changes since August. Again, we do have a perceived $4.9 million increase in income, most of which is tied up in dedicated expenses that were associated with grant funds. Overall, even though we have increase in income, we do experience a $722,000 decrease in undesignated balance. That is money that's not earmarked, which really speaks to any new money being restricted, dollars for buses, for CalShape. CalShape, if you remember, is the grant we received to replace interior lighting as part of that and our air conditioning upgrading systems. So as part of that, that money comes through the general fund as well. To sum up, ending fund balances, we do meet our minimum reserves. As you can see, as we move further out, our goal is to never reach the third year, and that we managed our budget effectively so that third year, which always is the worst case scenario in all of our projected budgets. Our goal is to never reach there and to continue to make adjustments to our budgets to ensure that we never reach that year and reach that place where our budget does not meet our 3% minimum reserve. Thank you. Following any questions, we'd
Any
recommend.
questions from the board? Any questions? Okay, Dr. Castañeda Calero.
I do, thank you very much. I just want to take a look at first of all, thank you for the presentation. I know you can judge a lot by a board what percentage they spend on different items on any given agenda. And tonight we have a lot of items related to budget, and rightfully so, because we want to make sure that we take our role as fiscal stewards very seriously as a board. And so I turn to the pie chart for expenditures. I think that's, there you found it, thank you. And I imagine that the next time we get a chance to review the interim financials, the portion of the chart that is related to benefits, I guess it would be the yellow, the orange, and the green, that may look a little different if we decide to go with PARs and if we get enough takers. I know I'm kind of speaking out of turn about another item coming in our agenda later, but I just want to have you maybe.
I think that would, combination, may look a little different in terms of the percentage, not for this year, because our
Right.
expenses related to salaries and benefits are pretty locked in for this year. But next year, kind of a better thought is, can we make the entire size of the pie smaller and maintain some of the ratios, but looking at reducing costs commensurately with our declining enrollment across all expenditure priorities.
Thank you for reframing it that way.
Any other comments? I have a couple of questions, and then we'll start with that. I'll start with the ending fund balances slide, which is the second to the last one. Am I reading this data correctly, that in essence, from 25-26 to 26-27, we're looking at digging into our reserves by about 10 million, maybe 10.5, and then when we go from 26-27 to 27-28, that we're dropping that down, we're going to be using about 12 million in our reserves to basically balance our budget.
Yeah, really, if you're looking at comparing overall total budgets, you'll see that combines restricted and unrestricted. The green numbers are unrestricted budget. So part of our balance and as part of the juggling act here is looking at how we can use restricted dollars efficiently to support ongoing costs. Part of that is looking at things like Title I expenditures and how do we maximize the use of restricted dollars to support our operations.
No.
So I don't know if I answered your question. I think I kind of got lost in my own answer, but
yes, and then I'm going to follow up on that in a second. The legal minimum is a 3% reserve total fund balance, is that right?
that's correct.
Historically, and in terms of your experience here, what have we aimed for at Whittier Union? I know we don't aim for 3%.
Sure.
What has been your experience?
The CDE recommended is 3 months, so about 20%, or I'm sorry, 2 months of expenses. So if you break that down, 2 months of expenses, 2 12s, it's really about 16-17%. So that's kind of what the recommended CDE balance. I'd love to be at 20 and stay around 20. We have been above 20 in recent years due to the influx of one-time money. So we had about 5 years where we had this maybe significant upward trend and an increase in ending fund balance that was kind of unprecedented prior to that. Where we are right now, about 16%, is about where we were for maybe the prior 15, 20 years. Kind of the trending downward. Again, we don't want to reach that third out year to where we're in single-digit reserve balances.
So this comes back a little bit to the question about what I'll call that we've got a budget that is in a sort of systemic deficit because we're spending more than we're bringing in currently anyway. And so this is important to me to find out what's that target number as obviously we're going to talk in a second about potential or the offering of a PARS retirement. But is our target number to try to see if we can have cost savings over the next 2 years of, you know, at this point, the way it looks like, let's assume we leave it, we just stay to the 11.1, are we looking at 22 million?
Over the multiple year budget cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so on paper here, you're looking at about $10 million a year. When we, again, acknowledging that we're not factoring in additional one-time funds that are projected, but not yet received. There's a lot of information from the Legislative Analyst Office and School Services of California. As you read it, there is a budget gap that has to be answered to. Right? So I would suggest that the state does owe additional funding to school districts beyond LCFF. We just don't know what that dollar amount is. So currently, Trustee Rodriguez-Moise, on paper it is $10 million. It may be less, and we'll continue to bring updates as we have more information.
I appreciate that, and I think Dr. Castaneda Calleros had a question.
No,
and then
Mr. Lopez.
Mr. Lopez first, I apologize. Mr.
Thank you. Do have a question about the declining enrollment fund. Now, your concern is if the reserves fall within single digits, right? At what point do we invoke and ask about the declining enrollment fund?
If let's say for example this year, the 27-28 projected budget dropped below that 6.6% reserve, dropped below the 3% reserve, we would need to increase our unrestricted balance. The first place we would look to is the committed reserve, and would ask the board to uncommit that reserve and to expend it to ensure that we don't drop below our 3% minimum reserve. We do have about $3.6 million in additional one-time money that's been uncommitted at this point that we can. So we do have some restricted reserves that we could tap into as well. Obviously, we don't want to get there. We want to continue. That's kind of the emergency break glass scenario. We're working to develop our remediation planning. And just to put this into scope, $10 million is about 4.5% of our overall budget. So, in other business worlds, you might just say, cut all the budgets by 4.5%, you're good, right? There's your $10 million. So just to put a scope to that $10 million number, it's about 4.5% of our overall expenses. We could do that and just chop all the budgets by 4.5%. Part of our strategy is to use our budget stabilization committee to be more surgical than that, to look at how do we make cuts that impacts the organization the least, impacts student achievement the least, and ensures that we are protecting what our core values are and our core operational goals are.
Thank you. And I guess the question was not that pressing, I guess. Any other comments? And this is just an informational item.
No, this needs a
But we do need approval of
Oh,
first.
second, J251.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All right. Any other further discussion? I'd like to wait for Dr. Castaneda Calleros, but we have 3 of us, so what the heck? Call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes 3-0. Let's now go to item 16.06, consider approval resolution of the 25-26 Public Agency Retirement Services Supplemental Retirement Plan. Who's taking the lead on this?
And Mr. Genero is going to,
Sure, connected to our budget management conversation we just had, and our need to commensurately reduce personnel costs with our declining enrollment, we are recommending the board approve our supplemental retirement plan. This would provide both certificated and classified non-management staff with a salary retirement incentive, 85% of current salary retirement incentive. Should the board approve this resolution this evening, program information regarding the incentive would be mailed to eligible employees later this week, and would open an enrollment period which would conclude in February 4th. The board would then review our analysis of the enrollment and analysis provided by the PARs, and then consider final approval at the February 10th board meeting. With that introduction, recommend approval of the item.
Before we start discussion, do I have a motion to approve the resolution number 2526-19?
So moved.
And is there a second? Moved by Ms. Conchola, seconded by Mr. Lopez. Board, any questions or discussion? I think, well, go ahead, Mr. Lopez, I was going to make one comment.
No, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for including not only the certificated employees, but also classified in this. I appreciate that. And then, two, approximately how many employees you think would ask or eligible first and foremost?
Over 100 certificated and over 200 classified, so total more than 300 employees are eligible, according to the analysis conducted with both the district and our PARS representative, projecting about 45 potential classified members that may take it, and approximately 19 to 20 certificated staff that may take this opportunity. Again, following the open enrollment period, we bring that actual number of enrollees and projected savings to the board for final consideration.
Although
Yes, please.
possible savings, Mr. Chimero, on this item?
Savings range significantly. The savings is truly achieved when positions are not replaced. So we'll say that up front, and I know that that's been a question that members from this board have asked, is how do we know there's going to be savings? You know, and the savings is achieved when particular positions do not have to be replaced. So that'll be dependent strongly on those that decide to participate in the program. We'll have that analysis and projected savings much more accurately at that.
All right, any other questions or comments on Ms. Conchola?
So just my comment, which is, to make sure that as we look at these possibilities, that the replacements are aligned with our mission, and to make sure that our students continue to be served adequately at all of our sites. And so as long as that's something that we really look at, I would definitely be in support. I know we've done it before and it's been successful. So I trust in your leadership in terms of both of you and Mr. Jamero in terms of the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I think timing is everything, and from what I understand from the administration's recommendation regarding this item, it is the right time, and I think this is aligned with our goal to be fiscally prudent as a board. And I think pursuing this in this inclusive manner, as Trustee Lopez mentioned, allows us to be able to be proactive and to minimize the chance of having to make more difficult decisions down the road. So I really appreciate this, and I will be voting yes for this.
And Mr. Lopez, you have
Yes, I'll definitely be voting for this. One final question. Obviously there's our target goal, right, to say what would be our target goal in terms of savings?
I can,
just overall.
10 million?
I'm hopeful, I would love that to happen. I don't, that's kind of a absolute best case scenario. When I think that I look at our declining enrollment projections, right, we know that if enrollment continues to trend where it is, we're looking at a need to lose a minimum, right, double-digit numbers of certificated staff each year, right, each year. So for every 30 students, every 30.5 students in our staffing ratio, that's one less teacher. So if you're losing 300 students, that's 10 certificated classroom teachers. That is the commensurate reduction. You think of overall costs of an individual teacher, both salary, benefits, statutory benefits, it's about $185,000.
So, Mr. Jamero, what's our target goal? That's the question. Is it, she mentioned 10 million. Obviously, you said no. Is it 500,000? What's our target goal?
Well, again, I'm hesitant, and I appreciate your clarifying question. Last time we saved about $6 million over 5 years. If we look at where I would want to be, again, you're making me go out a little bit on a limb here, so.
I think it's really important to remember that we're serving students, and so those reductions would come at a cost of that student-teacher ratio, the counselor-student ratio. So I appreciate Kevin's desire to give you a direct answer, but I don't think, I think the budget stabilization group, we need to continue to look at other places to make cuts that are away from the classroom, rather than to look at a massive cut to staffing, both on the classified and certificated staff, and not look at other program cuts that can be made away from the classroom.
And I'd just add that I think our goal is to maintain our staffing ratio at what our contract staffing ratio is, which is 35:1. We are carrying a little bit of overages, and our goal is to get back to that ratio, so that we're where we're supposed to be. Again, so year to year, that number's going to change, and it's not really based on a dollar amount, but based on being right-sized for our need.
Anything else from you? Thank you, Mr. Jamero, really appreciate it. I think I had a separate discussion with you about my concerns, but obviously we've got to get right-sized in terms of our budget, and so it's, perhaps Dr. Castaneda said it best, which is timing is everything. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, who made my motion? Ms. Conchola and Mr. Lopez. All right, without any further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, passes 4-0. Okay, let's go to 16.07, which is consider approval to request change of board meeting date from April 14, 2026 to April 7, 2026. I will admit that this is my request. I accidentally booked a vacation for our April 14 meeting into Europe. And I know that Mr. Lopez set the right standard about being out in Italy for his anniversary trip, but I don't think that I could share a meeting that would start at 3 a.m. and go until whatever time it would be. So that's why I placed this item on the agenda. I would appreciate a motion and the moving of this.
Motion to approve, Madam President.
Thank you so much.
I'll second the motion, Madam President.
I do have a question, clarifying question.
Yes.
Does it have, when someone requests something like that, do we have to note who the trustee is requesting such items?
I don't know if we have
Just
to,
wondering.
I don't think we have to note it, but
Just
obviously
wondering.
publicly has stated. I recall once we had the same kind of motion,
Right.
and the trustee was not mentioned in the actual agenda.
Okay.
All right, so any other further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Have fun.
Thank you. Any opposed? All right, motion passes 4-0. And if you guys can change that on the internet and all those places, thank you so much. All right, now we're on to 16.08, consider approval of the personnel report.
Thank you. Tonight, pleased to announce we are bringing on board 4 new classified staff members. And in addition to that, we have 2 current classified staff members who received promotional reclassifications, along with 4 resignations. And so with your approval, consider the personnel report.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Ms. Conchola, seconded by Dr. Castaneda Calleros. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, let the record reflect that was a 4-0 vote. Next is 17.01 miscellaneous, but I don't see anything there.
We don't have anything in miscellaneous.
Great. I'll note that the hour is 10 o'clock and that we've got a lot of stuff that's going to happen in January. So future board topics that folks want to discuss. I guess Dr. Castaneda Calleros.
I'll be happy to go after.
No, please.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just 2 quick things that are, they're not really new topics, but just sort of they're coming around the bend again. The March 14th governance workshop is coming up, so I think planning backwards, I think we just need to make sure that we agendize, or it doesn't have to be agendized, but we need to have the instrument, ready to go I believe we had our consultant already agreed to, when I was board president, I think that was approved. And then the board the superintendent evaluation, excuse me. So we need to plan backwards with that as well. And I think I remember working with Dr. Oviedo on a timeline, maybe late January, early February, so that's coming around the bend. So just wanted to note that for the board.
Thank you so much. Ms. Canchona?
Well, the fact that we now have a Latina president and Latina vice president, I would like to propose that as part of the March celebration of women, that we bring like an amazing speaker to share with some of our students. I have some potential ideas of who we might be able to bring, and really to highlight the history and the collaboration of women in our community. So making that suggestion. And I love, have a good night, everybody. Thank you. Hope you get some rest. Pobrecitos, también cansados. Thank you. And so, and then also, I want us to, continue the team building opportunities, especially once, we move forward with an appointee. Because I think those sessions were very beneficial to us growing as a board. And so that's another piece. And I love the idea of bringing together, some of our local fellow trustees, because I think there could be some really productive opportunities for discussions. I know it's going to be a challenge in managing schedules, et cetera, but I believe si se puede, can be done. And even if we do it once a year, I think it'll be, especially if it's coming from us, I think we'll show leadership in that respect. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes,
thank you.
Yes.
In the spirit of democracy, in the spirit of listening to public comment, and maybe we could, my idea is to look into setting funds aside for this kind of situation that we just talked about special elections. So we have an opportunity to, manage a special election rather than, force an appointment because of budget issues. But yeah, I'd like to I'd just like to explore that idea. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I'm going to add is you'll probably be getting some follow-up from Dr. Oviedo about that schedule and timeline that she had to make sure you all set aside your calendar. So please be monitoring your emails, especially given that the holidays are coming upon us. Okay, thank you. Next item is closed session, but I don't think we have to go back into closed session. Is that right? I know we have Dr. Castaneda Calleros wanted to make a special motion with respect to our adjournment.
If there's no opposition from our colleagues, my colleagues, Madam President, I move that tonight we adjourn in acknowledgement and recognition of Mary Ann Fajardo and her struggle against cancer, that she be embraced and uplifted and encouraged. And we think about her tonight, her family and friends. I also tonight move that we adjourn in the memory of Jen Balog, Whittier High School, who worked in the guidance office, Pioneer High School graduate, always bubbly, always so full of energy, smiling, offering help, full of faith, full of light. We'll miss her greatly. And of course, our friend Yosh Nakamura, a former instructor at Whittier High School, World War II hero from the 442nd, artist, philanthropist, former vice president of Raymond College, civil rights pioneer, father and husband, mentor and friend.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Second by Mr. Lopez, and third by Ms. Conchola, and fourth by me. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned until our meeting on January 13th.
Great job, Madam President.
Yeah.